No, there ain't no fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like Kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
What's happening, people? Welcome to Tottenham Away. It's our Friday preview show. Make sure you like, subscribe, smash the notification bell and all that good stuff as well. Make sure that you follow Spurswasian, Strasbourg Steve, and Charlie Spurs N17. I don't know where you live, but it's sunny over here. That's 2 days in a row. That's nice. Makes a change to the cloudy, rainy weather of London. But we're back. Quickly say hello to the guys. Matt, how you been, man?
Yeah, good stuff. Apart from obviously the result, but good. Been an interesting couple of days just listening to Big Angie's interview and the tremors and the kind of the reverberations around his comments. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to getting into everybody's points of view. Welcome to everybody who's in on the chat and looking forward to getting into it.
Let's go. Eugene, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, doing well. Right, I told you, right, been 40 over years a Spurs fan. I've been zen about all this rinse, repeat shit that we've been going through for so long. It is what it is. We'll just live through it and let's see what comes out at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. Let's see how we go. Steve, not a Spurs fan, but he's a football fan, and we welcome all fans onto the channel. Steve, how you doing, man? Hope you're good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good, man. Just chilling. Gonna watch some footy today and just kick back on my off day. So yeah, doing all right. Can't complain.
Doing all right. And Charlie, you're on mute at the moment.
Yeah. I'm doing great actually. That Ange Postecoglou interview actually really made me feel a bit more positive about the season. I don't know how you felt about that, but that made this weekend a bit better. And looking forward to the game, it's better. But doing good for the rest. I'm just chilling in on holiday and just making the best out of it. Not thinking of Spurs 24/7 this time.
Every week with Charlie. Yeah, I'm just on holiday. Yeah, I'm just on holiday. Yeah, I'm just on holiday. I love it. We're gonna start with the Ange interview actually, but I just want to quickly say hello to everyone in the chat. Big yourselves up. TDT TV, welcome. Swifty, Sfarrog BG, Eugene Minerals, Bertie Hotspur, Huddersfield Town, Alpesh, BSD 29, Dio, Donna Cullen, Gail Cliche, Anthony Clark, big up, Siraj, Giovanni De Santos, 101 Man, Rob Frank, Wayne Holland, H, John George, JP Exeter Spurs, Chris Agomba. Chris is an original OG, by the way. So says a few others. Hedex, big up to you. John Stokes, Mike Zappa, Terry Wright, JJ, Renugen, I hope I said that correct. Aqua Subs, and to Tot Spurs. Big up to all of you guys. Welcome to the show. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, so I do want to start. There's a few things I want to talk about today, guys, and then we'll do the questions at the end.
You're on mute, bro. I don't know how that happened.
Nah, it keeps cutting out. I've got a 41. I need to fix it. Oh, I do want to start with the Ange Postecoglou interview. So he's come out and said that he enjoys this part of the journey because you've got to learn what the pain of losing feels like. You've got to learn to go for the losses to get to the wins. He's happy with the direction at this stage of the process. And in a sense, he kind of reassured fans. Look, it was good to hear. I think as fans, we needed to hear it off the back of 4 shocking results. But there are also some questions. Some fans would argue that these losses are partly down to your decision-making. And some fans will also say that, fans like me, why isn't the board coming out and showing that level of support for Ange? Why isn't Donna Cullen, Paratici, Johan Lange, Scott Munn coming out and saying, look, Ange is here for the long haul. We back him. We're going to get behind him. Similar to what Josh Kroenke did and Vinay, Edu, what they did for Arteta when he hit a rough patch. And then off the back of that, Arteta came out and said, trust the process. I kind of feel that another manager is being kind of left to carry the club again. And the owners have gone missing. And the people that they've appointed to be in senior director footballing roles have also gone missing. So as much as I loved what Ange said, I'm not convinced because he doesn't decide his future. It's the board. What do you make of it all? And what's your stance on it? Matt?
An ideal world, the senior management team release a statement, press conference, whichever way, assuring fans that, he's here to stay and he'll be supported in the next transfer window and in every other part of Tottenham. But we're used to Daniel Levy's kind of regime. So it doesn't surprise me that there's been no official reassurance or vote of confidence. I think Ange is big enough and ugly enough to deal with it himself. I was impressed by the interview. Results ultimately is how he will be judged, but he sounds like he has the stomach to fix the problems and hopefully the next transfer window will go a large part of the way to fixing some of those gaping holes in our squad.
Do you see it the same way? Have you got a different take on it?
It's just all smoke screen, mirror, PR bullshit all over again. Our owners don't come out and stand up and talk to the fans, right? The only time he comes and talk to people is like in the Cambridge kind of thing, right? And then when we are winning in a 10-game streak, he comes out and do a fan gathering and say, we got our Tottenham back, right? I've been ranting this shit for a while. I don't want our Tottenham back because we've won not one shit in 64 years, right? We have not won the league title in 64 years. I don't want this Tottenham that you've given me, right? I want a Tottenham that can win. So to me, I've been a 40-year Spurs fan. I've seen it. It's been done before. It's been whitewashed, redone it, and just come out. Most probably it's all written for him by the PR team. So he has to say what he's got to say, right? He has to bring the fans up again, ensure them everything will be okay. But guys, it's all rinse and repeat. That's all I see.
Rinse and repeat. Steve, so you as a Newcastle fan, you've experienced years and years of Mike Ashley and the things that he's said, but he sold up. Now you've got new owners. I don't know what they're saying to you as fans, but when you take your experiences as a Newcastle fan and your two different owners that you've kind of been a fan under, what do you see when you hear the comments coming out of Spurs from Ange and the lack of comments coming out of our board? How do you perceive it as an outsider?
I mean, Levy's not one of those guys that really talks much unless he's saying something stupid, like at the conference with the fans, trying to get people all gassed up, saying, "Oh, we got our Tottenham back after how many games was that? 7, 8, 9 games in, maybe." So I'm not surprised. That's just kind of he's and Joe Lewis is even more like completely. He don't talk. I don't hear anything about. Nobody knows what's up, like anything about that. So I'm not surprised. And it's kind of always, for me, just always been that way with your managers. Like they're the ones explaining a lot. They're the ones talking a lot, having to defend whatever's going on. So I'm not really that surprised, to be honest. But I will say though about like you wanting them to have like a, what's it called? Like one of those like, a statement where it's like, I'm backing the manager. For me, I usually find that as kind of a concern because it's like it's gotten to a really, really bad point. Like I think Chelsea did it last year with Potter, and then 2 weeks later, he got sacked. So I feel like whenever clubs do that kind of the statement of backing, it usually kind of means that like it's getting really, really bad, and like they know the end is near. They just have to kind of save face and put on an act, kind of thing. That's kind of what I think about it. But yeah, like Pastor, in terms of like what he said from I looked up on Twitter real quick. He said something about like he's congratulating the Spurs women about the FA Cup thing, which is nice. He said something about, hey, you're right, like about the losses and stuff, and adversity kind of thing. So yeah, he's a good public speaker. Pastor Koglu, pretty blunt, direct, but. Yeah, he does. Clearly, the set pieces thing still kind of bugs him when he gets asked about it. But like, yeah, overall, this is kind of the Ange I saw at Celtic whenever I looked into whatever he said at Celtic. So, but yeah, I'm not surprised that Levy is saying nothing. That's kind of how he operates, I think. So,
Charlie, at the start of the show, you said that his interview made you feel better about things. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, and like to back Steve, I think he is right, because Arsenal had a complete crappy season. They were playing horrible football and all that stuff. And if the board didn't come out and say we backed them, I think the fans would have been going to mayhem. With Tottenham, we've had 4 bad games. We haven't been playing good for a half season, but we're still 5th. Like we're not at the same point as they are. So I know I'm taking a bit of a different stance than you are on this one, because I think yes. Because basically what the interview says, like he came in with a team that last year was not playing how they wanted to play. Like it was going on a decline, all this stuff. How he's trying to improve it, and how the first 2 transfer windows is going to do it. And in those aspects, I completely agree. Because 2 transfer windows is not going to help a team go from 8th with a decline to bloody 4th or 3rd. It takes time, and I feel like what he has said makes more sense and gives me other perspective of how I saw it before. Because before it was all like, yes, but the board hasn't said this, but this. But now I see it more as if he's come out to say, and maybe you say it's a PR stunt, but I still think that he did it for himself because he knows how the fans are feeling, and because he played at Celtic with a great fan base. He didn't play, he managed Celtic. All these people, they want to have reassurance of the manager, and I think this basically, in a way, helps me or maybe other fans to see what he really wants to do.
See, my question is more around. I don't think most fans from the podcasts and YouTube channels I've listened are so much focusing on the manager as much. Yeah, they are. They are focusing on Ange and his decisions, and they want to hear from him, of course. But I think a lot of fans, the big concern, and what I'm hearing on non-Spurs channels is, will Levy back him? Will Levy bring in the kind of players he needs for his system? I heard it on very balanced platforms as well that aren't anti-Spurs or Spurs lovers. And this is why I'm saying I need the board to come out. Because we talk about, but Ange is fifth, and the board had to come out and speak when Arteta was eighth. But Arteta won the FA Cup. Arteta brought silverware to the club pretty quickly. So I think the board really are the ones that certainly but I also believe a lot of fans want to hear it from more than anything else. What's your take on that, guys? Do you think the board need to come out and speak? Or is it okay that Ange's done this interview with an Australian interviewer who he knows where he's a little bit in his comfort zone as well? Look, I'm not against what Ange's done. I think it's a good thing. I think I do agree with Charlie. We want to hear from the manager on this. I totally agree. But isn't it the board that we really need to hear from to feel actually, things have changed? They're actually going to change.
I'm going to keep it really simple and short and sweet. Actions speak louder than words. I will take, as a rival perspective, I will take you guys more seriously. Not if your board says we're backing this guy and X, Y, and Z is going to happen because of whatever. I want to see. I'll start taking you guys much more seriously when I see, when the season's over, transfer window opens, you guys sign some big hitters or just players that he wants. So for me, I get it from from a comfort perspective and a PR perspective. Yeah, you want to see your board talking, but actions speak louder than words at the end of the day, right? And actions win football games. Actions build better squads. Actions is putting money into the club and the players and the infrastructure, and not talking. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like Spurs, and just like when I said about the Levy thing, he said, we've got you guys have got your Tottenham back. Well, we all know that's BS. So talk versus action kind of thing. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, but the thing is, to tell the truth, right? We've seen this before. You understand? So not. We've seen the inaction of our club, right? We've seen all the inaction, the reaction, and the waste of money buying duds, right? And a lot of us saying, right, we are always buying quantity over quality, right? But now, haven't you guys sussed it out? Why Levy buys quantity over quality is because that he's like playing the stock market. He's not going to put it all on a blue chip. He's going to spread it out, and hope that some of the chips will come in and triple his profits and all that. In the end, it's all about the money. Whenever we buy players, it's not for the squad quality. It's for, right, the bottom line, the profits that he makes out of it. That's how I see it. But like I said, I'm a Zen Spurs fan, and I've seen it all. And I'm just sitting down here, going through it all again. And hopefully this time, even if the board doesn't come up to speak, like what Steve says, action. Show us that you are backing Ange with the players he wants, right? And don't buy Timo Werner, right? If he does that, I guess the whole fan base will lose it. We'll go into another civil war again.
And that for me makes it really interesting because, like I said, you guys want your board to back him with actions. Words, obviously, or yeah, that's one thing, but actions. But what if Postecoglou legitimately wants Werner? That's the kind of conflict where it's like, you are backing. If Ange genuinely wants you guys to sign Timo Werner and then Levy does it, well, then backing him. But I'm talking about backing in terms of you go and buy a Branthwaite instead of Federico Gatti from Juve for 20 million. because
if this manager genuinely wants Timo Werner, then I cannot
it's
back
over.
the manager.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I personally can't back it because to me that's an acceptance of failure. I know where it ends if I see Timo Werner playing for us. I know how the story ends. So.
Yeah, but still, there'll be a bunch who will want Werner in, then there'll be a bunch who want Werner out, then the bunch who wants Werner out will turn into Ange out. Then this whole cycle of what I call mishmash, bing bang bong again, and then Levy will get his millions again. Then in another 2 seasons, Levy will get another 3 million bonus. For whatever reason he gets his bonus as well.
Matt, what makes you, as a Spurs fan, and you, Charlie, what makes you two think that Levy will change his ways? Because I think the issue is pretty much every Spurs fan, if they're honest and they're not just trying to be a happy clapper, which a lot do, but if every Spurs fan's honest, there's no history or evidence to prove that Levy's back to manager. So isn't that the big concern? It's we've been here before, right? We've seen this all before.
But Ange is prominent on getting rid of players and getting players in. And you've never really heard a manager in the past saying, I want to get this amount of players out and I want to get this amount of players in. Ange feels way more to the point than other managers have been, which gives me more of a feeling that yes, he will. And I know it sounds like a happy cup thing, but Ange is more direct than other managers were. He is saying, I want these guys to get out of the club, and if they're not going to get out of the club, it's not going to work out for me.
If that was true, right? Let's go on the assumption that you're right. Why did he accept 11 new signings in his first year, of which only 2 have really worked out?
You mean what do you mean, Ange's signings?
Well,
free,
the Ange.
3 signings.
No, Ange made 11 signings.
Yeah, but 3 of them worked out, not 2.
So Vicario has worked. Van de Ven has worked.
And Madison, I'd say, for half a season has worked.
Madison has been a very underwhelming signing after the first 10 games.
It was looking good. It was looking good at the start. The injury you can't blame, but since he's came back, woeful. So it was looking good. I'll give you that. That's as far as I'll go with Madison.
Even questions about Vicario are being discussed now. Is he susceptible to set pieces and corner kicks? There's questions saying that he just doesn't stand his ground, command the box in these situations. So, but I put him in because he's shown us a lot more good than what he has bad moments. So, but I'm just saying, if Ange is really to the point he's going to sort this out, why did he accept 11 players in one season where only 2 have worked out? That concerns me. It's not me being Levy out. I'm concerned by the amount of players we brought into this club that haven't worked under this new system. Matt, do you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, look, I think there's a combination. I think that as fans, we've been skeptical of Levy's ownership over the years. And just to touch on the point that let's just say, if Levy or one of the senior board members had issued a vote of confidence to Ange, the next thing fans would have said is, yeah, but we need to see it. So regardless of what would have happened, there would have been that element, because fans would have just said, yeah, that's great, Levy. Yeah, another PR stunt. Let's evaluate this. There you go. Let's evaluate this September 1st. So anyway, we're skeptical because we've watched this movie before. So I think that's never going to change. September the 1st, there will be a review of the transfer window in and out. I think to take it to the next stage, I think you don't get all your signings right. And I don't know what percentage that you normally get right. Sometimes it's over a period of seasons that players become good. They don't hit the ground running. Let's just discuss Arsenal and Ben White. They're waxing lyrical about when he first got signed. He had a torrid spell. I remember the game against Brentford where he got thrown all over the place. Look at the goalkeeper, Raya. He had a torrid start. So I understand we are very reactional. So we evaluate it on a game-by-game basis. But I think most of us would like to think that Maddison will become the player that he showed in the first 10 games. I think that's whether he's going to be the Christian Eriksen replacement, but I think Maddison will have better games than worse games. The question marks, I get your point, Stal. The Timo Werner and the Brendan Johnson are the big question marks for me. I would like to think that Timo Werner doesn't become permanent, so that gets rid of that question. Hindsight is a massive thing. If you could have played this season up to now at the start of the season, and then you'd have looked at Kudos or Diaby or several attacking forwards, would you have put that money on Brendan Johnson? You probably wouldn't have. But Adge seems to always say that he signed Brendan Johnson and Dragusin not just for now, he signed them for seasons to come. So a cliche, but let's have this conversation again next season.
I get that point because, to be fair, let's look at Newcastle. Joe Ellington was horribly misprofiled as a player under Steve Bruce. Horrific. And we paid a lot of money for him, especially for a Mike Ashley signing. 45 M's from Hoffenheim, where he played in midfield, in a midfield 5. He played either on the left or he could do a job as a wing back, never as a striker. I never watched Hoffenheim before we signed him and said, oh, he plays striker. No, I always saw him in midfield. I always saw him grinding. And it took until Eddie Howe, about 2 or 3 years roughly, to say, I remember it vividly. It was a game against Norwich. We got a man sent off, and Eddie Howe moved him into midfield. Rest is history. Now everybody has nothing but positive things to say. There's a big difference, with Newcastle, with when we have him in midfield and when we don't. Anthony Gordon did not get off to the greatest start at Newcastle, like when we bought him last January. He wasn't playing, and there was the moment last season we were playing Brentford when he got visibly angry and furious. But he went to England tournament, played really well in that 4-4-2 next to Gibbs White. So he had a good tournament, was player of the tournament, won that Euro U21 with England, had a great preseason, watched him in the US. He carried momentum. And then right now, people, again, he's a very good winger in the league, and he's produced a really good season. So you're right, Matthew, in terms of sometimes signings don't pop right away. But what it is that, are you utilizing the players to the best of their ability? So we can't even say that. I like Dragusin a lot. I was raving just Stal and Sava, and I was talking with other Spurs fans. I watched Genoa. He was a very, very good player at Genoa. I liked the signing for you guys. I was concerned about going from a 3 at the back in the middle, where he would just win aerial duel after aerial duel after aerial duel and body guys and stuff like that. So I was concerned about going to the back 4, and considering you have 2 other very good center backs, I was concerned about that. But I just figured Ange would use some, every once in a while he would play a Dragusin if a Van de Ven was injured or something like that. But so if you bring in a new man, let's say like the house does fall down on Ange next year, you bring in a manager that plays 3 at the back, I would expect Dragusin to play in the middle of that back 3, and then you see what you bought Dragusin for. But you aren't seeing that right now because he hasn't even been given an opportunity.
We're not going to back 3. We're not going to.
But Steve,
no. I said if I'm saying a hypothetical, if you let's say the Postecoglou thing doesn't work out, and next year you start off with a new manager who plays back 3. That's what.
But Steve, what you're saying, right, about new signings?
We have a new manager. It's going to implode. The fans. I don't.
You see, us fans, right? No, I'm going to say this, right? Us fans, right? We've got 11 new players coming in. 5 of them actually regularly playing, right? And Vicario has looked good in the beginning, and now he's been sussed out with his corner kicks and all that, and set plays. And then you've got VDV coming in. He looks good. Udogi looks good, right? All coming in. But these guys are playing their first season. right? They might just look good for that first season. When they turn to shit the next season, that's my biggest fear, right? There's a possibility for that too.
Eugene, or they might improve after a second season of playing the system.
Yeah, they might improve.
Both ways, right?
Yeah, but now what we've seen, right? Vicario was so good, right, in the first half of the season, but when he got sussed out with his corners and set pieces, he's looking wobbly now, right? Van de Ven,
in that aspect, he's looking wobbly. Shot stopping, he's been exceptional.
Yeah, I have to disagree. I have to disagree.
He's looking wobbly, right? And then you're looking about VDV. VDV, I can tell you he's good. VDV is quality there, but my fear is, right, I've been saying this, the way he comes back to cover, right, sooner or later, right, he's going to be on the medical table most of the time because he'll be busting his hamstrings all the time if we have to cover all the time like that. We've seen Udogie. Udogie's got his injury and he's gone off for his surgery and he won't be back until next season. So the signs are there, bro, guys. You get what I'm saying? Now, if we don't get the quality people to actually cover players like VDV, Udogie, and all that, we're going to run them into the ground. It's like what we did with Kane and Son. When was it? Is it when Mourinho was in charge? They had to play like every single game. Yeah. Right. And that burned them out, right? And when that burnout carry on onto the next season, and that's when we see them losing their luster and all that.
Charlie, you disagreed with something?
Yeah, with Vicario. Like Vicario has been sussed out. I know with like the thing, but now we have been sussed out with our zonal marking. We have seen zonal marking doesn't work out, and if a player like Kai Havertz doesn't get marked, and the ball goes straight to the back of straight to the top corner, Vicario can't do anything about that. You can say, oh, he has to go in and punch the ball away, but if he does that, he leaves another space open behind him. Like I know the goal against Manchester City, and like there was another goal against Everton, or no, not Everton, like another goal. I can't remember the game. Yeah, those are his faults. But now that we found out, and it's not the same goals are not happening anymore. Now it's just because how we are marking as a team. And I think you can't give Vicario the fault for that. That's a fault of the higher ups and the managers, because how we are defending set pieces leads to the goals. It's not because Vicario isn't a good keeper, because Vicario isn't Superman. Like if the ball's going to the top right corner, it's nearly impossible. Maybe Manuel Neuer could do it in his prime, but not everyone can do that.
Yeah,
Manuel Neuer balls in the Bernabeu 1-0 up. So
yeah, and he dropped a clanger, right? That's what I heard.
I couldn't believe he did that. All right, well, look, we're going to wait till the summer. We'll see what transfers come in, and I guess that will pretty much decide it all. One thing I do want to discuss with you guys, and I'm glad we've got Charlie and Steve on, because Charlie watches a lot of Dutch football, and Steve watches a lot of European football. The Premier League. Aston Villa, fourth in the Premier League, got humped home and away, 6-2 in aggregate against the fourth best placed team in Greece. Apparently, the Premier League is the best league in the world. Guys, no English sides progressed to any European finals. In fact, the Germans have done extremely well. And so has an Italian team. So is there evidence to suggest, and of course, Real Madrid are in the final. Is there evidence to say that actually Spain, Germany, and Italy, they've got better leagues? They had more teams in semi-finals, and they've got more teams getting to the finals. None of the Premier League teams have got there. And let's be honest, if you look at this, I'll come to you, Charlie. And if you look at it this season, other than Arsenal and Man City, who's actually been good? Like, who's genuinely been good this season? Yeah, Charlie, go for it.
I've got something to that's put it in another direction. Look, if you look at the Bundesliga and the Premier League is a hard game week in, week out. The Bundesliga, you've got a couple of games, like 10 games, let's say. It's easy. You can put your second team, all this stuff. In the Premier League, you do not have the chance to put in your second team. We play more games. We've got more cups. And then when we go to Europe, you can say, well, these teams have progressed because they have easier leagues. They have easier cups. They have less games. The competitiveness in their league is way less. If you go to the Premier League, and if you play against the mid-table, that's not easy to play against the mid-table. Like maybe like 20th, 19th, and 18th are hard, but the rest are all like still pretty hard. You can't play with your second team against the Fulham, let's say. You'd lose. The difference to like, let's say Bayern München playing against Hoffenheim or something. They could play their second team. They don't have to play their full strongest team. Then they've got better teams that they can play out for the Champions League, let's say. So in that aspect, I think you can't really compare it in that way. Because let's say we put Leverkusen in the Premier League, I don't think they'd be unbeaten. They'd lose way more games. Let's say you put that Italian team in the Premier League, they wouldn't be as far in the Europa because in their league it's less competitive and easier to go through, and they can use more of the second team, more of the third team. That's how I see it.
I guess.
Are we being disrespectful, Steve? Are we being disrespectful to these leagues? Because no one's going to convince me that Atalanta would finish top 4 in the Premier League. No one's going to convince me that Olympiacos would finish top 4 in the Premier League. Olympiacos.
Not Olympiacos. I'm saying Atalanta could. Their squad depth is actually really good. They have a really good manager as well. And by the way, I predicted Atalanta when the draw was made. I said they beat Liverpool. I said they'd advance. Because everything.
Guys, to tell you the truth, right? I think what happened with the Premier League this season, right? The top 3 clubs in the Premier League, right? They didn't improve their squad in the January transfer window. It was just basically that. That's why in the end of the day, I think fatigue came in, right? All the games that Man City had to play last season to win the treble, right? And Man City didn't improve that much in their squad in the January transfer window. And Arsenal didn't buy anyone, Man City didn't buy anyone, Liverpool didn't buy anyone. So I guess it is what it is, right? So, and to tell you the truth, for Aston Villa in the Conference League, maybe Emery's got one eye on the 4th spot. Maybe that's why they've just lost concentration there. Maybe if they focus on trying to get the trophy, maybe the results would have been different. But it is what it is. Sometimes we can't. The Premier League can't dominate most of the time. And what Charlie says is quite true. It's tougher in the Premier League. That's why when it's tougher in the Premier League, when you go into Europe, right, your levels are not that high again, especially if you don't improve in your squad in the January transfer window. That's how I see it.
Well, if we're gonna talk specifically about competitiveness, Charlie, I'd like you to kind of give me your definition of competitive, because I watch a bunch of leagues and I don't think there's any difference in competitiveness top to bottom. When you said the second string part, that's just not true. The only case, so I will give you this example where you are correct in terms of the second string team. Borussia Dortmund on Saturday before the Paris Saint-Germain game a few days ago, they did play a lot of they had a rotated lineup. They had Jimmy Bino Gittins instead of Adeyemi. Sancho was rested for Daniel Malen. I believe Sebastian Aller played instead of Füllkrug. They kept the same goalkeeper, but they mixed up the center backs, some of the midfielders. So I agree. In that instance, yes. And they did hammer Augsburg 5-1, which hasn't been the norm, by the way, for Borussia Dortmund at all in the Bundesliga this year. They've been dreadful for the most part, extremely bad, to be honest. So in some instances, yes, but at the same time, and to kind of, again, the second string team, Man City can do that. Man City can do that and play lots of teams in the league and they would win. That's what I would say. But what I guess, Charlie, what I'll ask you is, like, what do you define as competitive? Because for me, I can't say if a league is or isn't competitive unless I have a sample size with my eyes.
Let's say the league, for example. You've got 3 teams that take up 80% of the revenue, TV revenue, or something like that, 60 or 70%. The rest of the teams get the rest of the 30%. How on earth are they going to compete with the top 3 teams? That is not competitive. That is called a 3-team bias. The rest, like, you've got Barcelona and Madrid get the most, and then you've got Atletico Madrid. The rest don't get crap. I mean, like, listen, the Premier League, it's way more, way better, like, distributed. It's way, like, really, like, even out.
Yeah, it's even.
The same with the Bundesliga. I mean, like, if you look at that, the Premier League has better money that's being spread out for everything. It's got harder teams. It's like, that aspect, like, if you look at the League One, for example, like, it's PSG and you've got Lyon, and for the rest it's like Marseille maybe. The rest is all getting way less money. So same with Bundesliga. Bundesliga actually not, but Bundesliga doesn't have as much money because it's not from external investors. But a lot of leagues have like 3 or 4 teams that get most of the money, and the rest just gets left behind. And that aspect, I say, it's more competitive in the Premier League because the Premier League is way more evenly distributed.
So, like,
why are no English sides doing well in Europe?
Because it was just one of those years.
Because the last 10 years we've done great.
Sorry, Charlie. Just real quick. The Olympiacos.
The English
Villa
teams win
won.
the European trophies, guys. How often do they win them compared to the other
Not
countries?
really
of
that
the last 10
often.
years?
Whenever a Spanish team plays against an English team, the Spanish team usually wins, particularly in finals of any of the UEFA competitions. So, I'll give an example. It's not a Spanish team, but it's Olympiacos in the 2 legs. I watched both games. The thing is, and I've noticed this about Aston Villa. Their whole play style under Unai Emery is predicated on controlling games. They're not good at chasing. Why has Chelsea gotten a draw, a win, and then they beat them in the FA Cup, did lose at Stamford Bridge 1-0? Why did Aston Villa struggle on 4 different occasions versus Chelsea, who have been obviously nowhere near as good as Aston Villa this season? You know why? Because it's about matchups. Styles make fights. That's what you hear a lot of in the UFC or boxing. Styles make fights. Just like with the Atalanta Liverpool one. The style that Atalanta played, their characteristics, their qualities of the team.
I've got another.
Liverpool didn't want to fit. Real quick, Eugene. Olympiacos absolutely slaughtered Aston Villa because, number one, they were clinical as hell. Like, ridiculously clinical. El Karabi was brilliant. And number 2 was Mendelebar with the press. Aston Villa and Unai Emery never, ever adjusted to say, we can't do this playing out from the back thing because they are pressing the life out of us. So it was just a style thing, what happened with the Olympiacos Villa thing.
Yeah. Guys, okay, I want to give you this kind of scenario, right? Whenever the Premier League teams win the Champions League, right, it's always between 2 Premier League teams. Have you not noticed that? Very seldom when the Premier League team comes up with another team from another what call a league, right, usually wins it. The only one I can come to remember is, I think it was the Liverpool against AC Milan game, right? That was one that Liverpool won. You guys see, the others I've seen Liverpool beat Spurs, right? Chelsea beat M City, if I'm not mistaken, one time, and the other last time was M City beating Chelsea. Have you not noticed, right? 2 English Premier League teams go in, and the English Premier League will be up there winning the title. If not, if there are any other examples of Premier League against another league in the Champions League?
Final? Well, think about it. So the finals was 2000. Barca beat Man United twice, 2008 and 11, I want to say. Trying to think if there was any an England team versus.
Barcelona destroyed Man United at Wembley. I remember that game. They tore them to
guys,
pieces.
we're talking about leagues, not teams. Like the
but
league
the teams are in those leagues, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, let's say
if you've got 3 good teams in the league, does that make the league a better team? The league better than a league that has 20 better than average teams?
But I think the Premier League team. For me, I just don't see a difference, and I've been watching all these leagues for years.
There's a lot of crap teams in the Premier League. Let's be honest about it. Sheffield United are awful. Nottingham Forest are really, you know.
That's the thing, and people like some people were saying, oh, Brentford would win Serie A, and then Roma smash up Brighton 4-0. So Spurs are
the 5th best team in the league if you look at the league table. But since we lost to Chelsea, game 11, we've accumulated, we would have been 11th.
Yeah. And by the way, who's 5th?
That's how bad we've been. So I don't know. I think we undervalue. The German, Italian, the Spanish leagues as a whole,
and France as well.
France is
enough to argue this, but I think for sure the technical ability of the Spanish sides and their management's game intelligence, I think, is better. The Italian teams, there's definitely been a bounce back in Italy over the last 3-4 years, and as for Germany, well, I mean, they've got a German team in the Europa final. They've got a German team in the Champions League final. Are we saying Borussia Dortmund are better than
who did MCT beat last season? Was it Inter? Who did MCT beat last season?
Inter, yeah, and Inter played well in that game. If you're gonna lose a game of football, besides the Lukaku miss, really, Inter Milan, they lost, but they didn't lose in like disgraceful fashion. That was how you win a football game, as they say. or sorry, how you lose a game of football the right way, kind of thing. Like Inter Milan were very good in that game. They stifled Man City. I was hearing people saying, "Oh, it's 3-0 Man City, 4-0." I said like a 1-1. I thought it was going to be a very
guys,
tight game.
let's take last season's European competitions. M City won the Champions League. Who won the Europa? Sevilla won the Europa,
Against Roma.
and West Ham won the Conference League
Against Fiorentina. And Fiorentina, arguably on the balance of play, I thought played better than
this season. This season, right? Not one English team is in any of those finals.
No English teams in the Champs semifinals.
In the Champs semifinals, no English teams in Champs semifinals. Yeah.
Liverpool didn't even make the semifinals of the Europa. It was a French team in Olympique de Marseille. It was Atalanta, Roma,
and there's no And the only semifinal team that was Aston Villa, and they got kicked out too. So I guess maybe there's
Aston Villa got battered, man. They got absolutely pumped
by a Greek team.
and Stel, that's the thing I don't think people realize about football. They look at the 11 individuals, the names, the manager, the club badge, where it is. The thing about football is, and since I've been watching football in 2014, I've always kind of separated this from other sports because it's so orientated towards systems. If you have a system that your opponent doesn't cope well with, sometimes the quality doesn't need to be at the opposition's level. If it's 30, 40, 50, 60% of the opposition's quality, but you execute your game plan, and that's what the other team doesn't like to face. If that other team doesn't adjust and find a solution to your strategy, then it's a chess match.
I think it's bigger than that. I think it's if they underestimate that your tactic can keep working. I'll give you a great example. I went to Euro 2004. I watched Greece win the Euros, playing defensive football, get a set piece, score 1-0, right? And every opponent they came up against, they won't do that to us. But they kept doing it, and teams underestimated the tactic working against them. I think that plays a part in it. Look, I want to move it on. I want to get it back onto Spurs. I want to go through some stories, some rumors, some players that are being spoken about at the moment. The first one I want to talk about is Ashley Phillips. Now, Ashley Phillips is one of the signings that was made under Ange, young player. I think he's 18, 19 years old. He's been on loan to Plymouth Argyle, and he's won Young Player of the Season. He's only been there 5 months, so a lot of fans are hyping this up, getting excited. My question is this: if he's so good and he's Young Player of the Year, yada yada yada, why have we spent £30 million on a centre back that sits on the bench and never seems to come on? And why are we looking at players like Tosin and Lloyd Kelly to be the fourth choice centre back when this guy is so good? I want to come to Matt first because Matt hasn't spoken in ages. Matt, I can't make sense of this. Is he good or not? Because if he's good, you don't look at Tosin and Kelly, right? If he's not good, you still shouldn't be looking at Tosin and Kelly, in my opinion. But I can't make sense of it, Matt.
I can. I think he's in his age group in this country. He's extremely highly regarded. And my criticism of Tottenham when we were challenging for titles and we were challenging for trophies, 2016, 2019, we didn't have the backup. We didn't have the youngsters coming through. So when Toby and Vertonghen aged at the same time, we didn't have a contingency plan. You could argue that Foyth was potentially the youngster that was brought in, but for me, he's developing. He's playing championship football for real points. He's 18 years of age. He just needs to go out and learn the game.
Yeah,
I don't want him back at Tottenham as fourth choice centre-half to sit on the bench and just train with the first team. He needs to, almost what Arsenal did with Saliba. Don't forget, Arsenal signed Saliba in 2019. He's 23 years of age now. He's only played for 2 seasons for Arsenal. you know. So from the age of 2019, he's been out on loan for 3 years. And all of a sudden, now the Arsenal fans were going absolutely crazy. Why are we sent him out on loan? He weren't ready. He weren't ready for the Premier League at 18 or 19. They bring him back at 21. He comes in. The rest is history. So I think it's a fantastic signing for Spurs for £2 million, by the way. £2 million we paid for this guy. So I think it's a masterstroke. What Tottenham have to back that up with is buying players that can impact the team now. So a Tosin or whoever that is to get Tottenham competitive for the next year, 18 months, 2 years.
So Matt, if you're right, okay, at what age are you expecting Phillips to come and play for Spurs then?
Again, it's not a science.
He's going to be 19
it's
soon,
not,
right?
Yeah, it's not a science, so we can't kind of, you know, every player develops at a different rate. But he's 18 years of age, so you would like to think with a centre half, they get better as they get older. So the late 20s when they really understand their position. So I don't know. Let's use Saliba as an example. Maybe by the age of 21, 22, he's ready to actually impact the first team.
At 21, we're going to have Van de Ven, Romero, Dragusin, and maybe a Tosin or a Kelly. How is he getting game time at Spurs now?
Well, that's 3 years. That's 3 years from now. So a lot of things can happen still. A lot of things can happen in those 3 years. Romero is 25. He might get to 27, 28. Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan might come in for him, and he might say, do you know what? It's time to move on. And then we're panicking about who's the centre half to replace Romero. Well, guess what? If Ashley Phillips develops the way coaches I know are talking about him, he may be ready to play for Spurs in 2 to 3 years' time. So I think it's a fantastic signing. We just need to get players ready to play for Spurs now.
Before I bring Charlie in, I just want to quickly address super chat from London BRF69TF, London Bro. He says he was not that good at Plymouth. Other fans in the comments are saying he was. Also, D-Boy, I'm going to do all the questions at the end. So I'll save this at the end because I've got lots of other questions as well. So I'll make sure we do your super chat first. Yeah, Charlie, go for it.
So I just say, is it smart to look at the centre backs and is he ready for Premier League? I say no because he's had a year or no in is it Championship or League Two? I don't know what league.
Just Championship, right? Plymouth
Championship. Yeah. But that does not mean that he's ready for Premier League. So I say give him like a year or two more on loan, like Matt says, because then he'll be ready. At this point of time, he's not going to be ready for the Premier League. He isn't physically built enough, and Plymouth is a struggling team. So let's say give him another year or two, make him like completely ready, like fit for the Premier League. Maybe loan him out to like an Italian league, which is like really physically demanding, or maybe loan him out to like a lower Premier League side just to see how he does. Because I say playing him in bringing him into our team now and not getting a better backup is a bit risky because I don't see him play well again. Let's say Van de Ven and Romero are both injured. I don't see him do well next to Dragusin. I see that's going to be a very risky move, especially next year when we want to challenge for the title, as Ange says.
Yeah, but guys, to tell the truth, right? We've got another example there, right? Look at Joe Rodon. You get him, right? He went to Leeds, and he was smashing it at Leeds. You know, for Ashley Phillips, what I want to see him do is right. Okay, he's done well at Plymouth, but where is Plymouth in the Championship? Unless he goes to a team in the Championship, right, who's actually fighting for promotion to show that the level has got up, then maybe you can bring him back in. All right, or like what Charlie says, loaning up to an Italian league, right, or maybe a lower team in the Premier League to learn his trade. But at this moment in time, how to bring him back? You get what I'm saying? Like what Stealth is that, you know, we're going for Tosin. To tell the truth, I don't mind Tosin. I've seen Tosin play for Fulham before, right? He's good with his head. He defends well in set plays and all that. But the thing is that when you have too many seniors there and then you don't bring in the youngsters and all that, and tell the truth, right? What about our youth? Yes, you know, our academy players, why they are not going to get a chance if this goes on over and over and over again, right? That's how I see it. Development.
I was just going to say, if anyone with Tottenham And if anyone from Tottenham Hotspur, happens to catch this video, I'm going to give you a little nugget of what you should do, because this is the smart thing to do. You go by Nico Schlotterbeck from Borussia Dortmund, and you say to him, Ashley Phillip, 2-year loan, you learn off Mats Hummels. Let's go. Do it. Because that's what you need. That fulfills the need of
Steve, do you know who you're talking to? Sorry.
No, I'm saying, if anyone from Tottenham is
to.
looking at this, bro, I'm gonna give you free advice, and I'm a rival, but I know what I'm talking. I know what I'm talking about a lot of the time. If y'all sign Nico Schlotterbeck, who I think would be a very good purchase for you, for us, for a lot of teams, very, very good center back. A bit mistake prone at times, but honestly, like during the Champions League run, he's impressed me a lot. You go by him, 24 years old. He could, if Ange chooses to play the rotate center backs, what you do is you actually rotate him. Like, rotate Schlotterbeck. He's a good player. Van de Ven doesn't have to play every single game. Romero
attract those caliber of players, man. Like, for me, I just think Ashley Phillips.
I don't think Schlotterbeck's attainable.
I think Ashley Phillips just needs to go and play for a low-level Premier League side or go and play in the Championship. I think that's what he needs.
You wouldn't loan Ashley Phillips. Wait, so Stel, you wouldn't loan Ashley Phillips to Borussia Dortmund, where they have an immense track record of developing youngsters. And considering
I never said that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that also look at the English talent recent years that has made their name at Borussia Dortmund. The next one up is going to be Jamie.
Steve, we agree. We should loan him to a higher level club. I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I agree with you on that.
What did you disagree with?
I disagree that we should go and get Schlotter. He's not leaving Dortmund for Spurs.
You don't think so? Okay, all right, first.
A Champions League player, especially finalists now, is going to come to us unless they're at the end of their career, like Casemiro.
But Schlotterbeck's only 24. Yeah.
But we don't buy players at the end of the career.
He's not leaving Dortmund.
But then again, if I told you Sandro Tonali a year and a half ago was going to join Newcastle, what is, say what you want about the betting thing, but a player of that quality, which he was at Milan, which we've seen with Italy before, I would have told you, wait, we can't buy, because Milan were a Champions League semi-finalist last year.
Steve, but hold on. Hold on. How much did you pay for him?
65 euros.
Dude, we ain't spending that kind of money.
How much do you think Schlotterbeck would cost?
50.
We're arguing about a player that's playing in a Champions League final that plays for one of the top German teams coming to Spurs. We are not in that position to get him, in my opinion. Maybe
from an
I'm
ambition
wrong.
Perspective or a project perspective?
From, I would say, an ambition perspective. And I don't know what it's going to cost wages wise, what he's going to command as a fee. Because our managers come out and said we're not signing stars, we're not signing these elite players.
Well, how much do you value Schlotterbeck at? How much would you pay for him? I agree with Charlie. 50, 60?
I see Spurs spending 50 or 60 million on one player this summer, and the rest will be 15 million, 25s, 32s. I don't see us spending.
I agree
50,
with you.
60
by the way.
million
I expect. Yeah.
I want us to do what you say, but I just don't see that happening.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the other thing that with Spurs, I always it must be a struggle for you guys in this aspect. There's no creativity in terms of like the solution I proposed. Ashley Phillips 2-year loan. You get Schlotterbeck for 50 million.
I don't want to. I hear what you're saying. Listen, I don't want to digress onto that because there's other players I want to talk about. So if we go into creativity, we're changing the subject. So let me bring it back onto another player I want to discuss. Today, Emerson Royal has been linked with a transfer to AC Milan. Apparently, the conversation was around £30 million or euros, one of the two, but it's 30 million in someone's currency. Look, I'll be honest with you guys. for me, it's a no-brainer. Get rid of him. I don't think any Spurs fan wants him at the club. You know, no disrespect to him, but he's shit. And the truth is this: anyone that pays 30 million for him, in my opinion, I don't see us getting. If we get 30 million for Royale, I will absolutely praise the living daylights out of Daniel Levy. I will praise him to the max. I don't see him going for anything above 20 million if we're lucky. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Stel, I know a lot of AC Milan fans who already aren't huge new fans of their new ownership. If you guys fleece AC Milan for Emerson Royale, keep in mind their right backs are Alessandro Calabria and Davide Calabria and Alessandro Florenzi, two of the most mediocre right backs ever. Just to bring in another mediocre right back for 30 million, my AC Milan friends would be tweaking at their ownership.
Any club that pays 30 million pounds for a player who is bang average and can't defend. He can't defend.
That's a crime against
I'd buy the ticket first class with my own money.
Guys, don't laugh at him, right? He goes to AC Milan and he wins the Serie A with AC Milan. Watch it.
Probably. But,
that has to be fake news. That's my only take on it. That has to be fake. And if it isn't,
I don't think it's fake news because it says they're in talks. Now, talks could mean they just want to inquire
a phone
how
call.
much he would cost.
Literally,
exactly.
A phone call or an email. Yeah, like
it could be. Listen, it could be a WhatsApp.
They could have set a dove over.
But I do believe that Ange wants to move him on. Matt, you're nodding your head. I think Ange wants to move him on as well.
I think that would go up there with Man City paying 9 million for Benjani from Portsmouth. I think it would go into that level of where did that come from? I mean, I still can't believe we paid 25 million for him. That I still can't get my head around that. I mean, how do you sit down and scout Emerson Royale? Like, in what football match do you sit down and say, guys, we've got to sign this guy?
Guys,
look at his 2-second highlight reel, and then you see it.
No, guys, when we actually went for Tomiyasu during that debacle time, right? We were actually chasing Tomiyasu throughout that period, and all of a sudden, right, Emerson Royale came out from nowhere. We were going like, what?
He was a prospect. And to
just to sum it up, we pulled out of the deal for Tomiyasu. It wasn't the club. We pulled out the deal and signed Emerson Royale. I mean, just if you need a knee in the groin, I mean, just what an awful bit of business.
Yeah. Welcome. Congratulations.
But what I will say is I do think it's fake or there's something because AC Milan, who is their manager next season? They're not going to continue with Pioli. So if they don't even have a manager in the building, why are they looking to sign Emerson off for 30 million?
AC Milan are boycotting the stands. They're emptying the stadium in protest. They're letting the owners, they're letting the people know this isn't going to carry on like this.
Yeah,
they've been.
So that would be for me. That would be a huge red flag on their ownership even more if they are managerless because they're not going to continue with Pioli and they want to buy Emerson Raw for 30 million. For the new manager to deal with him, who knows if he likes him or not? Nobody likes him.
Well, and also developing as a story, and this one, I mean, you know, we want to apparently ship out Emerson Royale, but the replacement, Carl Walker-Peters, the academy kid that we sold because he wasn't good enough. Tottenham are considering a move for Southampton right back Carl Walker-Peters this summer, just 4 years after selling him. The versatile wing-back fits the profile of the type of attacking-minded fullback Spurs boss Postecoglou wants to recruit as cover for Porro and Udogie. So are we looking for a player that can play left and right back? Listen, guys, let me say this to you now, right? Let me say this to you now. This guy's not the answer. And I'm a big fan of our youth. I said we should have kept him at the time. I think we should have kept him. And I was right because if you saw what came after, it was Doherty. It was Chicken Royale. It honestly, for me, if we kept him then and continued his development at our club, maybe I would have been more open-minded about him now. But to have sent him to a team that got relegated, a team that's in the Championship, and now we're saying bring him back. What is the point of our date? See, this stinks of easy, accessible, cheapy signings, and this is my worry.
1 year left on his contract. So
Matt, this is why when you and Charlie tell me, you know, Angie's interview fills me with confidence, I'm like,
I said it.
What's your take on this, guys? What's your take on the Kyle Walker-Peters? Listen, I don't want to dismiss it. Maybe the kid comes back and he's got Tottenham in his heart. That means something in football. He's got the club in his heart.
Never get back with an ex you departed with them for some reason, whether that's a good or
I disagree.
a bad.
No, Steve, I disagree because Gareth Bale came back and he was actually pretty good. So I disagree here.
Pretty good.
We did the guilt.
Did he win you any trophies? What was the goal of the game?
We never win trophies, no.
Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah.
We never win trophies at Spurs.
Okay, so we just mentioned two unbelievable, phenomenal, world-class players. Is Kyle Walker-Peters that?
Well, now you're adding caveats. Oh. Now you're changing. Well done. You made a comment. I called you out on it. Now you've added
Ashraf Hakimi or something. This is Kyle Walker-Peters, a decent. You know where he should go? He should go to Aston Villa. You should go to Aston Villa after they sign a legit.
No, I disagree. Right, Aston Villa's a Champions League team. They're better than us. They're above Tottenham.
Backup right back for them. Because
if we want to go for the league, as Ange said, these signings are not going to help us because we need to get world-class players. I mean, we want to go for the league next year, not for bloody Conference League. This is not helping us in the future. And I know he is an ex-academy prospect. He'll be cheap. But, I mean, like, yes, we could get a way better player for maybe like 10 million extra. He isn't the best. He plays in the Championship side that isn't even promoting 100%. They're in the playoffs. Who says they're going to go up? I am not. I mean, he may be a very good attacking fullback in a very defensive league. So, yes, really cool. Sorry, not defensive, very physical league. It's not as good as our league. So let's say the attacks that are in the Premier League are so much different to the ones in the Championship. If you look at the Championship, I've been to like 2 Ipswich Town games because my granny lives there. Like, it's not the same football. It's way more clumsy. There's way more open spaces. And let's say he comes to Tottenham, he'll be used to that for 3 years. And then randomly you'll have to adapt to this. And he's not the player we need. Hooray, we're going to win the league next year, guys. Come on. These signings are going to bring us to glory.
I agree.
Guys. The players that we're linked with, right? Like what Charlie says, right? Do we really think that we're going to challenge for a title with the players that we're bringing in? Or it's just another, it's the things that we do in Spurs.
Well, we haven't brought anyone in yet, right? These are, we've got to always take it the picture. These are stories and rumors, and we don't know who we're going to bring in. Super chat here from a user. Afternoon. Hope everyone is well. Where is Adrian? I don't know where Adrian is. I do want to quickly say, Charlie, can people watching smash a like, subscribe, and also can you please show your love to Spurswasian TV, Charlie Spurs N17, and to Strasbourg Steve. Yes, Charlie.
So that we are being rumoured with these type of players. I know I saw the interview, but now I'm seeing this. And then I'm like, imagine we get if these things come to life, all these rumours, we're not being rumoured with like top end players. We're being rumoured with like crappy players that are like off the bunch that we just got rid of, or another team just got rid of. If we get all these players, why on earth? Who says we're going to do anything next season? We crumble because we need backups. Our team is very injury prone because we run a lot.
Now you're talking like me, Charlie. Now you're talking like me.
I know. I don't want to be bloody. I don't want to be. What's it called? I don't want to be rumoured with these players. I want to be rumoured with good players.
Well, this is the reality that we're going to have to face. This. The truth is this, and this is what. Listen, I've faced a little bit of flack from other YouTubers who question me on this. I've said I need to see what happens this summer. Like we used to have this saying on across the YouTube channels: until they're wearing the shirt, believe nothing. Okay, so let's see who actually ends up with the shirt, and let's give it till Christmas to see how they bed in and whether this flows in a better direction. That's my take. Some fans are prepared to give it a whole year. Some are prepared to give it 5 years. But we don't know. The truth is, we don't actually know who's coming in. We don't. They might have them all lined up. They might not have a clue. They might be getting rejected because of negotiations on price and wages. We don't even. They might not even know how much money they've got to spend yet because they don't know what European competition we're going to be in. Who knows?
No, we don't. We don't have money to spend, right? And in the end of the day, right, I can tell you, for more of these links that we've known, right, being a Spurs fan, right, we'll always get a curveball from our club. You get what I'm saying? We'll be chasing and chasing and chasing, and all of a sudden the player will come up from nowhere and we'll go, who is that? That's all I can say.
But I just got a question for you guys on a case-by-case basis. Are you, when you look at who you want Spurs to buy, are you more of a name or a profile kind of guy? Like, does the more attractive name appeal to you more, or are you looking for players that fit the profile of what you need in your team?
Why can't we have both?
Because you know why? Because I gave you an example of Nico Schlotterbeck, and you were like, you don't think Spurs would, you don't think that would happen.
Still, you know why we can't have both? We ain't gonna pay for it.
No, I think every Spurs fan wants to see quality come to the club. I don't think there'll be if we said we're going to sign Elise, Kvaratskhelia, and Paulinia, I don't know one single Spurs fan that would be against that. I think every Spurs fan would be, wow, that sounds exciting.
But then again, what if it doesn't fit the way that the manager wants to play? Like I said, like the prime example is Dragus.
How can those players not fit our profile of what we need?
Well, I'm saying if you bought, okay, so for example, Kvaratskhelia is a name, but what if he?
No, but I've seen him play. He's quality.
Yeah, I'm saying,
that's the exact kind of forward attacking player we need.
But what if it doesn't, and the manager and the manager's usage of the player shows that it doesn't fit the profile? For example,
then sign Timo Werner because he plays him and he's fantastic, isn't he? I mean, wow.
He's not though.
I know he's not. I'm being sarcastic.
Sorry, I'm cooked, man. I'm not.
We know.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think it's important to the name. Of course, you have to consider it, but I do feel like sometimes, like the profile also from fans needs to be analyzed a bit more because, like for example, Anthony Gordon, was he a name before we signed him, or did you, when you looked at the transfer, you said that fits the profile of a Newcastle winger?
Steve, look,
real quick. I misjudged. I made an error on that. I looked at his name and assumed it wouldn't fit because I didn't like the name. I didn't like the guy. So I misjudged the fact that we're actually getting a player that fits the way Eddie Howe wants to play. He does everything. The profile fits. Anthony Gordon might not fit a Pep system because he wants to be creative and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say?
Steve, it's a bit of both, okay? So when we sign Van der Ven, there's not going to be a Spurs fan out there that's going to tell me, yeah, I've watched this guy. I know lots about him. I know exactly what he was like. Hardly anyone knew this guy. A lot of us questioned him, including me. He's come in. He's turned out to be really, really good, and he fits exactly how we play. You can totally see how Van der Ven fits the Spurs way under Ange. I get it. He wasn't a name. We didn't know him. So on that side of things, I agree.
Vicario's the other example. Name, but that
Vicario's another example. Spot on. However, for every Vicario and for every Van der Ven, we've signed a Veliz. We've signed a Timo Werner. We've signed a Brennan Johnson. Now that's a problem. That's a big problem. So why can't we sign for those other positions an Elise? Why can't we sign a Kvaratskhelia? So what I'm saying is sign the unknowns as long as they fit the profile, but also sign some proven talent to complement it, because otherwise it will fail like it does under every manager. So we need a bit of both is the answer, but we don't seem to sign marquee players. Fans are claiming that Maddison's a marquee signing. Really?
40 million. The price tag doesn't say so.
Is he a marquee signing? Like, Matt, what's your take on this in terms of how we go about our business and what you want to see us do?
I think I want a combination. I think I want us to still look and unearth or try and unearth gems. So you look at the business model of Brighton. You know, look at Walton at Crystal Palace in midfield. I think he was 16 million. What a signing. You know, we still have to shop in that market. But when a Trossard becomes available, go and get Trossard. And my concern, as much as I still think we'll be a better outfit come September than the 1st than we are now, my concern is we will do more of the Trossard shopping, as in we'll look and we'll look and we'll look, and the serious clubs will come in and take them out the water, and we'll end up with a Danjuma and a Timo Werner and package it as a clever signing, clever loan signing. So he's obviously had a pushback on Timo Werner. So if you notice, the PR machine has now come out saying Spurs are looking into another season-long loan for Timo Werner. So all they're doing is they're kicking the can down the road on the Timo Werner signing. You see? So they're very clever in how they package these signings. So more, for me, Walton, more Van der Vens, more Adojis, and less Trossards. That's what I want this transfer window.
I guess what I'm confused about, Stel, is that, again, I'll go back to the Schlotterbeck. I know I'm bringing it up a lot, but it's there's sort of a point here. When I suggested Schlotterbeck and you were like, we won't get him. But then after that conversation passed, we're talking about Kvaratskhelia. So do you think you'd be able to get a Kvaratskhelia? Because for me, Schlotterbeck is on a very good tier, and then Kvaratskhelia is a little bit above. So if you think, I'm trying to figure out, like, who do you think Spurs could attract?
I think we've got a better chance of attracting a player from a club that's in turmoil like Napoli, where there's uproar at that club, compared to a Champions League final team. I think we've got a better chance.
Yeah, but at the same time, Borussia Dortmund's situation isn't like in terms like they are going through a transition, definitely, and they were thinking about firing the manager over the whole season.
Who's in a better place right now, Dortmund or Napoli?
Dortmund,
as a club.
Borussia Dortmund.
That's the point I'm making. So therefore,
the thing with Napoli is there's always drama. That's the FC Hollywood of
okay. But the point is that Napoli are in a worse position. Hence, they're an easier target to try and get players from.
Okay.
That's my argument.
It's what you know what it is. It's what clubs have been doing to Valencia the past decade. Look at how much did they sign? What's it called? How much did they sign? Who'd they buy from Valencia, Man City over the years? Oh, Rodri. If you look at, they bought him from Atletico Madrid, but so Atletico Madrid bought from Valencia for peanuts. They sold a few other players over the years for like way below market value. And why? Because they're in turmoil. Like the Valencia fans, they hate their owners. So I get that. But okay, the price was the other one.
So you're just confirming my point, Steve, that you're trying to argue.
Yeah. I'm saying it was a good point. So here's problem number 2 though. I said Schlotterbeck 55 million, and you were like Daniel Levy wouldn't do that. So how much would Kvaratskhelia cost?
I'll come to you, Matt. Yeah. Well, no, Steve, I said that we would spend big on one player this summer.
100 million? Because that's how much Kvaratskhelia.
We're not spending 100 million. If Kvaratskhelia is 100 million, then we're not going to get him. Forget it. Matt, you wanted to jump in on this and say something?
Yeah, go on, Matt.
Yeah, so I just on Hasper TV, what I meant was when I said less Trossard, I mean how we dealt with the Trossard deal. Yeah. Obviously, I wanted Trossard. The example I was using is instead of farting around, we're interested, and then Arsenal in 48 hours, the deal's done. So the example I was using is when we identify a player, most people knew Trossard was ready. That wasn't a gamble signing. The fact that he cost 27 million, that was too much for Daniel Levy. So the package was Danjuma. He's played in the Premier League for Bournemouth. He's on loan, and the PR machine rolled out Danjuma. So that's what we need to be alert as fans to say, this needs to stop. When we identify the right player for Tottenham, go and get him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. Sorry.
That's yeah.
I
But
want to
yeah,
I want to
like,
move
for me,
on to
I've
another
always-
player, guys. Steve, I want to move on to another player, right? And I want to have a quick chat about this guy. Then I want to move it on to some questions that the audience has put to us. Okay, right. This guy here, Maddison. Now, I've said this season that I think he's flopped. Okay, he had a good 10 games, then a mixture of injuries, and then since he's come back, I've not been impressed. I know some fans get upset when we criticize the truth, but this is the truth. And here's the data to back it up. His first 19 games over the last 5 years is much better than his second half of the season, except for 21-22. But every other season, the second half of his season is a drop-off. This one's been the worst drop-off since 2019-2020. Now, here's the thing. Leicester City fans told us this was going to happen, right? So the fact it's happened, we shouldn't be surprised. But unfortunately at Spurs, we hype everything up. We get all excited. We build ourselves up for a fall. Rather than just letting it play out and just seeing where it goes, we lose our minds. Maddison, signing of the season. Spurs, going to win the league. Maddison, what a blind the Levy's played. But when you look at it, I'm saying I think we need to sign another number 10. I'm not saying sell Maddison, but I think we need someone that can fill his boots. If we're not going to keep Lo Celso, which it looks like we're not, plus Lo Celso's injury prone, he's not much better. Although Lo Celso, when he has played for us, has looked good this season. I think he's not been given a fair chance. But look, that's an argument for another day. Do you guys agree we need to sign another number 10 that can actually play more than 10 games a season, guys?
This is what I've been saying since before. Sorry, guys. This is what I've been saying before his injury, because that's why I really want Eze. I really want Eze because he can complement him on the ways that other players. Like I'm just a fan of Eze. That's me. But I think he's really like a good replacement for Maddison. And let's say he does have a bad game, he goes out. And let's say Maddison has got a good patch. We play Eze on the left wing or something, because they're there. But he's a rotational player. That's what I'm saying. Or like Danny Olmo, all these type of players. But what I'm basically saying is he ain't cutting it every game, and the games he is playing good, they're like once in like 3-4 games. And if we have somebody else to compensate with him, maybe he'll feel more under pressure. Maybe he'll start playing better, or we'll just have him as an impact sub. So I feel like having another number 10 or number 8, like how he's playing, is just going to benefit us in every way.
No, of course we need another backup for Maddison, right? We need backups for every position that we have, especially if next season we're going to Europe, right? And the sad part is that, to tell the truth, I was happy that we got Maddison because it brought me hope, right? I mean, I'm speaking for myself now, that at least we'll get some creativity from the midfield, right? And he did show that in the earlier part, but as we all know, after the injury, he doesn't come back too well. So we do really, really need someone to cover him, right? I mean, whether it's Paulinho, Eze, Paqueta, right? There are players out there for us to get. But the thing is that what kind of level, what kind of quality are we going to bring in to cover him? We know Lo Celso is injury prone, and we know Maddison will get injured one time a season, and after the injury, he comes back, he becomes a dud, right? So we have to prepare for that. Hopefully Ange sees it. He has to prepare for it.
What I would say is about the attacking midfield, the thing, go and get Xavi Simons from Paris Saint-Germain. Go and get Kerem Aktürkoğlu, who can play on the 10, left or right, from Galatasaray. Go buy someone like, if you really want to be ambitious, Florian Wirtz. You know what I'm saying? So go out there and get a backup,
We're not going to get Wirtz. We're not getting Wirtz.
No. That's why I said if you really felt ambitious, go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go. I
don't think we can sell ourselves as a club strongly enough to those types of players. It's not that.
Right.
I think the problem we've got at Spurs is it's not just showing a lack of ambition. It's actually the way we've been run under this ownership. It's very difficult to sell to a player. Come to us. This project's going to work. We need to build up that credibility. It's almost like
you are in London. To be fair, that is like a good recruiting tool.
Yeah, but dude, but you know what? Just location isn't enough. Sometimes you need to.
Yeah.
Some players out there just They genuinely want to be part of something that's going to lead to silverware. And we just don't have that credibility in the bank at the moment. Like Pochettino, let's be honest. If we went after these types of players that you're mentioning, the year that Spurs got to the Champions League final, we had credit in the bank. Poch was one of the most sought after managers in European football for what he was doing at Spurs. Spurs were playing a brand of football that was exciting and getting to very competitive stages of big competitions. That was the moment, right? Now look at us. We got to. There's players we can attract, but we've got to get them from clubs below us, like a Crystal Palace. That's kind of where we need to shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matt, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, I think we need battle-hardened players. You know, we've got quite a fragile squad. You know, we got players that don't seem to be able to handle the rigors of the season. So that's why players like Maddison and Celso have moments, and then there's an injury interruption, and then when they're classed as fit, fans go great, and then when they come back on the pitch, there's a difference between being fit and match fit. So Maddison at the moment, he's just trying to get his kind of mobility. If you watch him, the ball gets dispossessed. He doesn't look like he's going to track back. He doesn't look like he's going to win the ball back. He puts his arms up in the air. He's frustrated he's frustrated in his body, and he's frustrated in his football. He's letting himself down on the ball. Yeah, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things.
Psychology in sports is so
it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things because the things that he was doing without thinking in August and September, it's a struggle now. He's fighting with himself when he's on the ball. It's an effort. He looks really, he used to do things in 1 or 2 touches. Now he's taking 4 or 5 touches on the ball, and he's getting broke. Someone's getting a toe in. We're getting dispossessed. The fans groan. That gets on his shoulders. So I would look at a player like Palacios from Leverkusen, battle-hardened, the right age, 25 years of age, can play. I don't like using these numbers, you know me, Stel, but he can play the 6. He can play the box to box. He can play in the 10. So he covers a multitude of sins. Those are the footballers, and he's not going to cost them a lot of money in modern football, because he does a lot of the work that doesn't always catch the eye. But there's a player. If we're looking at our midfield now, we've got a lot of if players, what if players. Bentancur, what if he comes good? Basuma, what if he gets back to the form he was in the first 10 games? Go and get Palacios. 25 years of age, battle-hardened, knows how to kind of orchestrate a game, midfield general. He's ready to play football. There's the type of signings Tottenham need to make.
Yeah, Matt, I agree. That's exactly what we need to be doing as part of our building process. I want to go to the questions from the audience. We'll start with a super chat from D-Boy. Big up. Thank you, D-Boy. He says, serious question here, guys. Where does Bayer Leverkusen finish in the Premier League? Is it the coach or players? Because they're not the best players.
They're some of the best you cannot tell me that some of the best players right now in the world play at this moment for Bayer Leverkusen. You can't do that. That's a very good squad of players before the season started. Did we all regard Florian Wirtz in high regard? Is he not a superstar in the making for Germany? Like, what are we doing?
Steve, I think what D-Boy's trying to say is the players they signed weren't the best players out there. Like Granit Xhaka wasn't the best kind of midfield player. He's gone there. So what he's saying is it the coach? Is it the coach? Because
of course the coach. Of course. That's a huge part of it. But what you said there, Stal, because Xhaka's, when we talk about name, it's in a more positive connotation. Xhaka he has a name, a recognizable one, but some people just don't really rate him. So for Leverkusen, you know why that signing was so good? Because it wasn't a name. It was a Xabi Alonso identified who in midfield he needs to put in. Xhaka does this, and this. I'm buying him. That's what it is. Pro.
Where
football.
would Bayer Leverkusen finish in the Premier League, guys? In your opinion?
First
Right,
place.
tell the truth, right? I think Bayer Leverkusen will finish fourth, right? If you base on this season, right? The teams that he will play, he has to get through Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool, right? Aston Villa most probably they will beat. Most probably Bayer Leverkusen will beat Aston Villa, right? As I see it, but there is a chance maybe third because Liverpool has petered off at the end of the season, right? After what Klopp did and what he said, and he's and honestly, I guess it's a combination of both, right? A coach which is good enough, right? He's considered one of the young up and coming modern managers, right? Who can actually command his squad, right, to play the way he wants to play, and he has the type of players to execute his commands. So I guess if he does come into the Premier League, I will see he will be third, fourth, right? Unlucky.
Can I just say, Eugene, we're saying third or fourth, but can I just say, Bayer Leverkusen are undefeated in Germany, undefeated in the cup competitions, and undefeated in Europe. Nobody's beaten them this year. Like nobody.
49.
I know, but the thing is that you're bringing him to the Premier League. You bring him the Premier League, right? Premier League, like Charlie said earlier, right? The standard of other teams along the way is higher than the others in the German league, right? Bayer Leverkusen is challenging for the
Arsenal couldn't beat Bayern Munich across. They lost 2 games in a row to Bayern Munich. They drew 1, they lost 1. Bayer Leverkusen beat them both. Beat Bayern Munich twice.
Yeah. Bayern Munich's got a curse, right? We all know that.
I'm saying. I think Bayer Leverkusen
Second.
I think they come second. I think they just behind.
And you can
Man
make a
City.
case first because this isn't the strongest Man City team. It's still an incredible one, but
I mean, you base it on this season.
Leverkusen have been the best team in Europe this season, not because of the unbeaten run.
I agree.
It's
I agree with that.
Performances, coaching, player performance, consistency, efficiency, the way he plays football. He relinquishes a bit of control for a bit of risk in certain moments. The guy it's unbelievable. I could talk for hours about Leverkusen this season, but they are a brilliant team.
I'm gonna move on to the next question because otherwise we will talk about Leverkusen for hours and hours because there's a lot to listen. It's a fairy tale. It's a great story. But I want to go on to some questions that have been put online for us. Matt, let me bring this one to you first. So SVAROG says, I'd like to hear your view on Richarlison in terms of his stats and play in the last and current season, to comment on what Ange talked about him. I found this graph accidentally, and it shows the only difference he's doing this year compared to last year is he's scoring goals. Has he done enough to say? When you look at the comparison, the yellow shape, is it octagon, to the pink-shaped object, we're looking at passes received, aerial battles, non-penalty goals, expected goals, so XG, passes to the penalty area, expected assists, offensive actions, and minutes played. He's been below everything except for off actions, but where he's been much better this year is XG, so the expected goals, and non-penalty goals. But expected goals doesn't mean he's scored more, although the non-penalty goals has gone up, so it probably does mean that. What do you think, Matt? Because you know what? He still divides opinion. He still divides fan opinion, Richarlison.
Richarlison is the most un-Brazilian number 9 probably of the last 40 years. You know, he's awkward on the ball. You know, he doesn't have that silky touch. You know, he never seems like he's got the ball under control. Is kind of the best way. He's always fighting. But what I like about Richarlison is he's got that energy. He's got that, for me, that I'm not getting into the shithousery because I don't always think that's a quality. But what I mean is he's got that never say die mentality. He's limited. He's extremely limited. And you can't go from Harry Kane to Richarlison as his replacement. You know, the gulf is too big. I think I know we need a number 9 for next season. But if he was around next season in a capacity, I would be okay with that. You know, if we go into next season and he's leading the line and then we've only got Valise, I've got a problem with that. We need to go and get a ready-made number 9, and depending on what happens with Richarlison, i.e., if we get the right bid and we use that money, then we need to go and get 2 strikers. But I saw a stat somewhere, Stell, about his goals per minute, and it's surprising. Richarlison's goals per minute I think he's in the top 10 in the Premier League.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
It's very good. Granted, the criticism is he misses too many football matches, which is another problem. But games, minutes, goals, he's up there, which shocked me.
But guys, to tell the truth, right? My number 9, right, has to at least contribute 15 to 20 goals per season. And if you don't do that, right, you ain't going to be your first choice number 9. If Richarlison comes in as a backup, right, that goals ratio drop even more. And the worst part is that Richarlison only turned up, right, in the period of time, that January period of time when Son wasn't around. Remember? He stepped into Son's shoes, right, because Son was playing that role, the striker role, and he took over and he scored. His goals mostly came in that period of time. And after that, we didn't see him again. And after that, he got injured again. You get what I'm saying? So it's a risk there, right? But is he valued at 65 million, 60 million pounds? I don't see that. You know, that's why we overpaid for him. And now the thing is that if we can get back at least 50 for him, I wouldn't mind selling him, right? Most important, we need the goals. That's all.
He's crap.
Yeah, Charlie.
You should get rid of him. That's
Like,
all I
Eugene,
think about Richarlison.
a lot of things you said were on point, but Richarlison had a groin injury that was like for a season long. When he got his surgery, he couldn't play. When Son was injured, he came back from his surgery. So the games after that, after his surgery, he's been playing way better than before. So I say, yeah, but then you can't say he just turned up when Son was injured, because he was injured himself before that. He turned up when he had to turn up.
But Charlie, what I'm saying is that, yeah, but after that, right, he did before. I mean, after Son came back, because Son wasn't, and after the Asian Cup and Son came back, right, Son wasn't at his top, right, because, you know, whatever happened in the Asian Cup, you know, with all the fights that were going on with Lee Kang-in and all that, I guess that actually affected Son, right? Richarlison was playing for a period of time, and he didn't turn up. That's what I'm saying. If he has kept on turning up at that period of time, right, most probably he was superseded Son. If he's got up to 15 to 16 or 17 goals now, right, I would say keep him. I've been saying that early in the season, but everybody was saying Richarlison was shit, right? And I said that if Richarlison scores 15 goals and above, would we keep him? All of us said yes. But he hasn't even reached 15 goals now. We're down to 3 games in the season. I mean, bar counting the injuries and all that, okay, fair. But the thing is that you still have to score the goals. You get what I'm saying now? That's why I'm so frustrated with bench system. We ain't scoring goals.
If you look at the data, Richarlison gets most of his goals, in fact, quite a considerable amount of the goals, and his assists against the bottom 10 teams. So the Crystal Palaces, the Burnleys, the Forest, the Sheffield United. As soon as we play the top 10 teams, he goes missing in 80% of the games. Same as Brennan Johnson. Same as Timo Werner.
But
so
the difference is, you finish.
I was going to say, so he's good. He's good to have if you want to rest your main striker or your main forward when you play the lesser teams as a rotation. But against the top 10 teams, in the big moments, the big games, he's nowhere near good enough.
Okay, but still, can I counter? Son against low block teams has not been great this season, and I have to say Richarlison has been playing better against lower block teams. And I'm not saying Son is worse, but as a striker, I say we need Richarlison for those low block teams, because Son is not a good striker against those teams. This season it's great, and I say we should keep him if we don't get a good offer, because selling him and then getting We should keep. I say keep him if we don't get a good enough offer. Because
Charlie, this is what I'm saying to you. It's the low level teams that do the low blocking though.
No,
Against
Charlie,
the top 10 teams this season, the number one goal scorer and number one for assists is Heung-min Son.
yeah, but that's why, Charlie, I'm saying, right? We need somebody a quality or 2 levels higher than Richarlison to actually carry us. You get what I'm saying? Being a squad player, okay, maybe fair, right? We might be able to accept it, right? If we don't get a proper price for him, that I wouldn't mind, right? But honestly, he's been with us how many seasons now? We've seen him play since he came in when Conte, right? 2 seasons, right? He's been with us 2 seasons. So in 2 seasons, what has he proven to us, right?
Let me ask you a question, guys. Right, if you were to take the top 6 teams, let's say so, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa. In fact, let's just do them because they're our main rivals at the moment.
Yeah.
Are any of them signing Richarlison?
Never.
So why do we at Spurs try and justify him being good or worthwhile at our club then?
It's like trying.
Isn't this the problem? Isn't this where
we don't have the replacement for him? We do not have the replacement for him.
That's not the argument. The argument is, would you keep him? Obviously, it's because you're going to get a replacement, not just remove him.
But yes, if we get the replacement I want, then I'd sell him. But if we don't get the replacement I want, then sell him. Then we're going to have a bigger problem. Then we won't have a backup strike. Or
I agree
with that. From one problem to the other. If you get rid of Richarlison, which you should, he is not good. How much are you paying him?
60?
How much are you paying him a week?
190,000.
You're paying him $190,000 to do what he did?
Yeah, £190,000.
So you're employing look at this from an employer's perspective.
What if Son is not happy?
You are paying someone an exorbitant amount of money to score a few goals in some purple patches, maybe 7 against relegation 10 teams. Or the smarter thing to do, how about you go get a promising youngster from Stade Rennes, a striker, you pay him 50 grand a week and he'll do the same damn thing. And he has a future ahead of him. Go get
Who says he will do it? Who says that?
Hold on, guys. We're going off the topic here. 1 minute. We're going off topic, right? It's your fault, Steve. You keep doing this, right? The question is this, right? We're answering a question from the public. The question is, would you keep Richarlison?
No, he's terrible.
Yeah, that's your view.
Yes. There's no justifying keeping him at your club. Absolutely none.
Danny says that Richarlison is on less than 100k a week.
All right, well, that's still too much.
He's on 90k a week. So
90k a week, okay.
That's
90k a week?
Okay. That's still too much. He's doing what a $30,000 player could.
No,
all right, let's just go around the table quickly. Yes or no, do you keep him? Steve, you're no. Eugene?
No.
Matt?
Sell.
Charlie?
With the replacement, yeah, then sell him. Without, no. So I have the definitive answer.
No, you're no, as long as you get a replacement.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I agree with Charlie, as long as you get a replacement. All right. Next question comes from Koi's THFC. Do you know what? I'll read it out. It's easier. Will Ange play some of our under 21s? Will Ange have a plan B? Will Ange change the tactics? Will Ange adapt to managers who adapt? Okay, basically, it's quite a bit here. What he's saying is, will Ange adapt?
No.
Does anyone think? In fact, let's reverse the question. Does anyone think Ange will adapt next season?
No.
Hopefully, right.
The fact we've all gone quiet says to me, he's not going to adapt.
You know what? And Stout. From the other perspective, what did I say as soon as you asked it? I said no, because
you said no.
Deep down, all of us wanted to say no, just like I did. I'm not a Spurs fan though, and you guys are. That's what it is. I said no right away because I'm just looking at football. You guys wanted to say no. It's the silence.
But we are emotionally attached to it, Steve. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm just
that's what it is. People are thinking about it, because they're scared to say the wrong thing because you get attacked.
And then be labeled and attacked.
If you dare come across as being critical, you will get attacked. That's how it works, right? That's how social media works. God forbid you speak your mind.
I've said it before, right? I've said this very straight and forward, right? At this moment in time, I'm not Ange out, right? But I'm Ange sucks because I can't take all that losses that I've gone through, and he's made me feel sucky. That's all. So Ange sucks, right?
He's made
Next
you feel
season,
what? Eugene, what? He's made you feel what?
Sucky.
Sucky.
Oh.
You feel sucky. What is sucky? What is sucky?
I don't know. It's that sucky feeling that you get, right? When you see your team get smashed 4-0, right?
How do you feel? I feel sucky.
No, that's what I'm saying. The
Matt,
thing is that
Guys.
Charlie, I want Matt to speak on this because he was about to speak, then Steve spoke. Go on, Matt. What were you going to say? Do you think he'll adapt, Matt, next season? Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. But...
Okay. The question is when you mean adapt, I think there will be a tweak. I think he will, if he gets, for me, the right.
Matt, can I redefine the question? For you then? When I mean adapt, what this question is saying is playing the youngsters, having a plan B, finally adapting to set pieces, changing to a 3-4-3 formation, going to a back three. I think he's saying, are we going to see something completely different tactically if need be, or is it just stick to plan A but just try and do it a bit better?
Just looking at some of the teams he's had in the past, he has played three at the back before. And I think this is his first season at Tottenham. And I think he's played a certain style of football that has been his undoing of recent times. So I think he'll have to. You cannot have this gung-ho approach game in, game out in a season. I don't care who you are. Even Pep Guardiola plays centre halves in midfield away from home. Even Sir Alex Ferguson would bring in a John O'Shea, or he'd kind of thicken up the midfield in some games and take a point and come back to Manchester. So they're the two best kind of proven Premier League trophy winners of the last 30 years. So he'll have to. But I still think he will have that style, but he'll have to tweak it.
What I would say, Matthew, is about the three at the back thing. You're correct. On paper, there were games where Postecoglou at Celtic or any of his other clubs, I can't speak for when I watched him at the other Brisbane Roar, but I did watch him at Celtic from start to finish. There would be games where the lineup says 3-4-2-1, but it's really a 4-3-3 in game.
Yep.
The way it plays out, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like for the Real Madrid game the other, I'll give an example. The Real Madrid game the other night, everyone has different lineups because there's two wingers. Are they wide? Are they central? Was Bellingham play? Like some people had it as a 4-4-2. Some people has a 4-3-1-2 on paper, but in reality, it was kind of none of those. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes on paper, if it's written down as a certain formation, that's where it helps to watch the games because it might eventually turn into that formation. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't adapt like the overall plan.
Yeah, look, he will have to because, if you're playing Man City or Liverpool, especially if you're playing in Europe on Thursday and you've got Anfield away on Sunday, you cannot play this open, expansive football with 3 days rest and expect to go to Anfield and get 3 points. So he's going to have to make adjustments. I don't care who he kind of has managed before and the successes he has. He's going to have to tweak it and be a little bit hard to play against and sometimes a 1-1 draw at Anfield or at the Etihad is not a bad result. Yeah, but what I'm saying is we were very lucky in that 3-3. He's going to have to be a little bit more hard to play against. We're too easy to play through when we're not on the top of our game. And that's the thing. He's trying to think that Tottenham are going to play at the top of their game every match every week. It's impossible.
That's when earlier what I said about that's what football is, how I've seen it since 2014. It's system versus system. If the opponent can exploit your system, you may have better quality players. You may be at home, you may be whatever, and they might not have as good players. What if they have a smarter manager that knows how to exploit your system and you don't do enough or anything to fix that system despite having superior players? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Steve, basically, right, what I want to see him do is, right, stop all the defensive managers and attacking managers, bring in new coaches and all that, focus back on defense, right? We've been defensive, naively defense in defense for so many games. Yes, and the worst part is that we depend on one player that goes back and chase after the ball, which is VDV, right? And the rest of them are like, don't know where they are.
And Vicario too, to make a wonder save every
stop
game.
Marking the grass. You get what I'm saying, guys? I want him to stop telling the players to be zonal marking, because we can't bloody zonal marking because our players don't have the intelligence to zonal mark, right? Why are you looking after grass, right? When the players are attacking you, you're not focusing on the individual players that are coming in to play, right? And you're running away from these players that you're supposed to be marking instead of, guys, it's so frustrating. If he changes that kind of mentality, the kind of things that if we see that in the preseason, he's tweaked it, he's changed it, right? I will have more confidence. But if this thing goes on throughout the preseason, I tell you guys, I'm going to be like, I don't know.
The adjustment, by the way, could I just say this real quick?
Yeah, say.
When we talk about, do we think he will adjust? The thing what we're asking him, is he going to learn the art of balance, right? You guys, when you attack or when you turn over the ball, you're always so high up. But you don't want to be so far back like a De Zerbi team where that, like, you don't want to be too high or too low. Or sorry, more of a defensive team that plays in a low block versus pushing all your defenders up way high. You need to be like Alonso, because Xabi Alonso at Leverkusen is in the perfect middle of it. They don't need to dominate possession, but they can catch you out through space and movement and all this stuff. Ange needs to learn that just because of the high line thing, it's not as beneficial as he thinks. He needs to just the whole play of your team. It needs to be a little bit more comfortable without the ball as well. I think that's the other big thing for me. That's the adjustment he has to make. But I haven't seen him made it in his career at Celtic and Spurs. That's why my answer is no.
It's no, yeah. The thing is that he should realize, right? This past 4 games, right? We getting smacked all the time, right? What kind of confidence that will bring to the players? That's my other question too.
Mate, we've got 2 top centre backs, 2 top centre backs, and a good goalie, and we are getting pammed. Absolutely pammed, right? This is all down to tactical inability and an overhyped midfield. Our midfield is so overhyped. Bissouma has been a flop. Maddison has been a flop. Bentancur's not fit. Pape Sarr's been overhyped. Lo Celso, I don't know what's going on. Skip and Højbjerg are nowhere near good enough to be in a Spurs shirt. That midfield is so fraudulent. It's unbelievable, but we can't say it. And as for the attacking three, I've said it 1,000 times. They've all got to go. Everyone except for Son. This is the problem. You've got a manager whose tactics don't work against managers that outsmart him. And you've got a group of players at Spurs that everyone's overhyped. That for me is simple. Get better quality players in this club. Stop accepting mediocrity. And the manager, as Matt said, you can't keep doing the same thing every minute of every game.
Stal, I have a bone to pick with you about the midfield in particular, because I remember earlier, you overhyped them.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. I remember.
I overhyped Bissouma. Bissouma, and I put my hands up on many North London is our shows, and I've said, guys, I completely got it wrong with Bissouma, but I never got it wrong with Højbjerg. Skip, he needs to go because we're never going to play him in his right position.
Three of yours after 10 games was one of the best in the Premier League, arguably second. And I said, I don't think so quite yet. You did say that.
Steve. When those three were ticking, Bissouma was playing brilliant. He was playing
I'm not denying
absolutely superb. However, over the course of the season, he has proven to me he does not have the quality, because the quality is shown through consistency. If you can't consistently perform, you're allowed a dip. You're allowed a bad couple of games. But if you can't turn up consistently, you're not quality. He's not quality. That's how I see it. Pape Sarr, I've never said this guy is sensational, superb. I said he's a rough diamond. He's a rock turning into a rough diamond. But clearly, we can't put all our hopes on Pape Sarr. We can't. He's too young for what we're demanding right now. And as for Maddison, I've said he's a flop. I've been saying he's a flop. I've been saying it for the past 2 months. Benton caused the one that I feel disappointed by the most. But then this injury, I guess he's got reasons to be. He had an ACL for 9 months. And he comes back and 3 games in, he gets fucking wiped out by Matty Cash. So,
That's true.
You know, some things you're right, Steve. Like the Bissouma thing, I got it horribly wrong, but I own it. Listen,
I was just messing with.
You can mud me on Bissouma, right? Stefan's already mudded me on it. Connor's already mudded me on it. You can join the queue. It's not a problem. Yeah. I've taken part.
I just remember.
I said Bissouma should have been captain to start the season. Right. Pow. You know.
It's just funny because you usually don't do that stuff. You usually don't like fall for initial hype or whatever. It was just funny to me.
Bro, do you know what? I think, like many fans, those first 10 games, do you know what it was for me? I'll tell you what it was for me. I'll tell you what did it for me. I know what it takes to get a group of players to play a certain type of football. I've been coaching it for years. When I saw pre-season, the way Spurs were pinging the ball, one-touch football, I said to myself, I've never seen any manager get a group of players playing like that quickly. I was blown away. I was honestly stunned. I don't know any manager that gets a team playing like that quickly.
To be fair to Gary O'Neill, he did take over Wolves 6 days before the season started, and they do play pretty good football, to be fair.
Bro, nobody was playing that one-touch football the way we
Not
were.
to that quality, but I'm saying that's
quickly. Because he wasn't just doing it with his players. He was doing it with the existing crop of shit.
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, what's going on here? And then when you go on a good run at the start of the season, and there's a lot of good play in that, but there were some games that weren't great, but we got the win. I thought, do you know what? Maybe this manager is the bottom. But as the season's gone on, and I think for me, it got to Christmas, January, where I said, hold on, no. Let me reset here. I've been consistent since January, though. I've been very consistent with this team and the manager. But yeah, that's my take on it. There's I don't feel we've progressed, if I'm honest with you. I don't think we've progressed. I don't.
I think you've bottomed out.
Go on, Matt.
Before I do, Charlie had his hand up for a while and he hasn't had a chance. So
Charlie, go. Sorry, Charlie, speak.
Go for it, Charlie.
I just had a break. Before this, we were talking about what were we talking about again? I had a great point and I just completely
tactics
my brain
and adapting his tactics.
Oh yeah. I feel like once Ange gets the players he wants, because like I said in the interview, he got let with a group of players that were being crap the season before. Crap. It was going on a downhill spiral, and I feel like if he gets players that suit him better, I think his tactics could work. So I think he's just playing this way. So if other players get into this team, they are immediately completely exposed to this way. They're like, instead of like having, sometimes we play like this, sometimes we play like this, he wants to expose the new players, or he wants to expose the whole team how to play. And I feel like if we start changing out every week in, week out, the Ange ball, how he wants to play, will never get used to how we have to play. Because let's say we play low block and then a week after we play different. We have to be consistent with this to show our players how to play. I know it's not what everyone thinks it, but that's how I feel like to get it in the players. And I know you have to adapt with that. But I think he's just really just trying to get them all on the same level, on the same.
Steve, I disagree to some level. Not Steve.
Charlie, he's asking about next season.
I disagree to some level, right? Because if you play the exact same way all the time, managers have a blueprint of how you play. And if I've got a blueprint, then I will know if I'm that good, is there a way I can adapt to stop you? Because I know exactly what you're going to do. And you know what? Managers have come up with that. So this is where Ange needs to adapt to managers adapting against him. If you are shit hot, like frighteningly good, like Man City, you don't need to worry too much about it. But Man City will come up against one team that is sublime on the counter-attack, and they'll put Man City to bed. As long as they can defensively sustain wave and wave and wave of attack from City. Arsenal almost did that. They went there, they pretty much shut shop. City couldn't penetrate them. And Arsenal maybe could have got a goal, but maybe City as well. So we will be fine against most teams, but the savvy managers, Charlie, we need to have another way, a different. Do you need to invert both wing backs? Can one stay back as additional cover? Do they always have to invert? Are there times when the wing backs can overlap instead? Does the number 10 have to stay up top? Can he drop back and feed the balls into the left and right forwards in the front three? A bit like what Liverpool did with Firmino. If we don't do these things, we're just a sitting duck waiting to just be picked off. And that's kind of what's happened the last 2 months. So
Yeah,
I agree with you.
But
I agree with you. If he sticks to his guns, we will definitely be better. Charlie, we will improve. We will. But we're not winning anything like that, though. You need to have another way. You must, in my view.
100%, 100%. But I think this season he's just shown what he is. And next season, once he's got his own players, he knows. Once the players understand how to play, he'll start changing, I think. And that's what I think and I hope. Because once he gets, let's say he gets 5 players he wants, they understand this concept, the whole team understands this concept a bit more, then he'll start changing, because the change will be, because then they'll be used to if they have to play one way, they'll know how to play that one way. And let's say they have to change a bit, they'll have to get used to it, but still they have that one way that will always work out for them. I think that's going to work. That's how it's going to work out.
Well, we will see. We will see soon. Another question here. Do you know what? I love these questions. Why are you so negative when it comes to Spurs? Don't you ever get effing bored? Blah, 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 blah. Do you know what I love about, who is this? Roger Carpenter. You are a legend. Bro, the issue is that we speak on what we see. And if what we see is crap, we're not going to sit here and say, clap, clap, clap. We'll say it as it is. I'd like to remind you, always negative. When we went to the Emirates and put in a good performance, who was there celebrating, humbling the Arsenal fans? Is this negative? When Kulusevski scored a last-minute winner, so we go 10 games unbeaten, is this negative? The celebrations, me bigging up the team? You're cherry-picking, and this is what... Do you know, I did a show on this yesterday. I can't be bothered to repeat myself, but stop cherry-picking the bits you don't like and labelling it as the whole. When we do well, we praise. When we don't do well, we criticize. You just got it in your head. The negativity is within you.
You assume the other person always has the worst intentions. That's what
it's crazy. It's crazy, dude.
They look at you as a negative guy. Anything you do is negative. Anything and everything, because that is just you. Just how it works in the same way, by the way, for people. I
literally just got called out by Steve for being positive about our midfield 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Guys, let Matt have a say. Matt, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that it's getting that happy medium. So I admire how Tottenham are trying to play. I admire that he's come in. He's obviously must have looked at the videos. He must have looked at the games last season and realised there was a big disconnection between the fans, the players, and the owners. There was a total disconnection. So what he's done is he's come in and he's managed down, which is the players, and he's also managed up, and he got the fans on board quite quickly. I think just looking at the Bayern Munich game, let's look at that for an example. So they had that game pretty much wrapped up. And Tuchel takes off Musiala and takes off Kane, and they're 1-0 up, right? Now, most people watching that game that understand football is thinking, why do you take off the most lethal number 9
You've gone
on
too
the
soon.
pitch?
You've
For
gone too
Eric
soon, man.
Choupo-Moting.
And Musiala, who's a dribbler of the ball, that when Madrid are having to take risks now to get back in the game, they're going to leave gaps. So you keep Musiala on and then what happened when they got dispossessed and it was a transition, the guy that got the ball was the young kid, I can't think of his name, Steve, for Bayern Munich. Right. And he didn't have the legs.
Pavlovic, 45, yeah.
He didn't have the legs, and Modric came back and Modric took the ball off him. If that's Musiala, that's at least a shot on goal or a goal. So sometimes we've got to get that balance, because do we want Ange to get too pragmatic? And my answer is no. I think he just needs to tweak it a little bit, but not go to the extremes of Tuchel, which is we're 1-0 up. It's the 84th minute. I know what. I'm going to take off my number 9. I'm going to take off Musiala and bring on, appalling substitution. So I think. Sorry, go on, Steve.
No, I was just gonna. No, go on.
Yeah. So look, I think we just got to get that balance. Keep to this expansive attacking football, but pay respect to the teams that we're playing against. And sometimes this gun-ho football, when we're up against Man City and the tails are up, or we're at Anfield, you have to say, do you know what? A point here is not a bad result. But just playing this, you attack, we attack, I think next season playing every 4 days is going to be a car crash.
Yeah, but no, to tell the truth, right? Like what I've been saying, Matt, right? He has to learn to get the players to know how to defend first. You get what I'm saying? If your players don't know how to defend, right? How many goals are you going to go up and score to balance out how many goals that you're going to go and concede?
The best form of defense is attack.
No, but the thing is that we can't even attack at this moment. We play horseshoe football.
And that's the problem. I was waiting for you to say that.
For the past 6 months.
Not really. The best form of defense is to keep the ball and not give it away, which we do.
To attack. Yeah. If you struggle to attack, then you're going to. It's literally like a.
Let me go on to the next question. Let's go on to the next question. This one, blimey, that's really small. Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger. Sorry, so small. Can we expand? Yeah, we can. In fact, let me just read it out. Do you know what? Let me read them out rather than just put up on the screen. So NAWHL says, Spurs haven't won the league since 61. Clearly, major changes, improvements are needed in all aspects that are essential to producing consistently high performances that results in winning a league. One of these aspects is to have a clear system of play to win games and not try to cultivate a system that best suits the capabilities of the current players. Ange is clearly wanting to build a squad that would do justice to this system. Fans should support him in it. Okay, we kind of touched on this already, so I'm not going to spend another 10 minutes going over that. We agree with what you've said about we need to bring in the players for Ange. Joshua Pereira says, considering Skip came on as left back against Liverpool, what do you think about him playing there again for the rest of the season from a tactical perspective? I say this because the fullbacks in this system invert and spend time in the midfield. With that, it would be like having an extra midfielder, and Skip wasn't awful with his defensive responsibilities in that position either. Do you know what? He makes a fair point. Skip does play midfield and our wingbacks do invert, but is Skip defensively good enough? Because we've seen when he plays in the DM role, he puts in some howlers. So,
but still,
guys,
he plays midfielder. Sorry,
go on.
Sorry.
No, go on, Trump. No, go speak.
He plays as a midfielder, but we all hate him as a midfielder. He can't play well as a midfielder. So maybe we have an extra midfielder in the team, but he's not going to do crap because we've had him for the last 4 or 5 years, and every year again it's the same thing. Oh, let's put Skip there. Let's put Skip there. Now he's had one good 20-minute spell. I mean, yes, he's done well, but Skip isn't very well defensively, and he isn't very well in the midfield role. So who says he'll do anything at left back? I think he'll just be. I'd rather have I don't know. He's not going to improve.
Charlie, I'm going to ask you a question, right? for this Burnley game we're coming up with, would you play Emerson Royal at left back or Skip?
But like against Burnley, yes, but against like a normal team, no. But Burnley isn't a good team. Burnley's a championship
Okay,
side.
wait.
Against Sheffield, yeah.
Okay. Then we're gonna play M City, right? And a few days after that game, right? Would you put Skip in that left back position?
Against who? Against Newcastle or against City?
No, M City. That the games that we're coming up with now. We're playing Burnley first. After that, we're gonna play M City.
I want to see how he does against Burnley and Sheffield first, because I can't give you any promises about how he's going to play in the field 90 minutes. Let's say he does amazingly well against these two teams, then yes. But if he doesn't perform as well as we think
hold on,
he is,
Charlie. We are playing Burnley, Manchester
Yep.
City. Sheffield is the last game, so we don't count Sheffield.
Oh,
So-
I thought City was the last game.
No,
That's
no,
my
no,
fault.
no, no.
No, okay, let's say he plays well against Burnley, then yes. But if he doesn't play well against Burnley, we've seen it, because Burnley isn't a good team. So then no. That's how I see it.
Stal, I want you to pull up Philly 2109's comment.
I want to. I just.
If it's an Eduardo Camavinga. This is the you're trying to tell me that Skip, who's a midfielder, playing left back, is gonna work. And we're talking about Skip like he's Eduardo Camavinga.
But it worked against Liverpool for 20 minutes.
By the way, you know why I'm so harsh? Sorry, Charlie, just real quick. You know why I'm so harsh about, like, I don't think you guys should have this player in your squad. I don't think it. You know what? I wouldn't condone Oliver Skip at Newcastle. I wouldn't condone Rich Harlison at Newcastle United. That's why I say so. No, so because genuinely, when I give my football opinions, that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So there is no justification for you guys to have Skip. He's not good enough. He just
but that is true. That is true. But we do not have another good left back. Emerson Royal at left back playing attacking is not good. When he sees the halfway line, he cries. He's just going to go pass it back. He's terrified of
both
that.
of them. So at that point, it don't even matter.
But yeah, exactly. But why not give Skip a chance then? Because I know he isn't good, but just give him a chance. Like, I know he's a bang average. He should be gone, but he isn't gone, and we don't have anybody else that is better than.
Guys, Charlie makes a fair point here. We've got 3 games left. We know Emerson Royal is abysmal, right? The guy got skinned against Chelsea, skinned against Liverpool. What do you think is going to happen if he plays against any other team? Right?
I misunderstood the question then. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. If you want to fuck around these next 3 games and play Skip as a false number 9,
well, no, Steve, it's not about messing around. It's about knowing that Emerson Royal is abysmal. What's the alternative? What's the alternative? We're clearly not going to play Dragoos in there. We've had chances to do it. He's not doing it. So what's the alternative then?
Are you saying for the game against Burnley? Are you asking me in the game against Burnley, would trying Oliver Skip at left back be a good idea?
Talking about the question, we didn't even know what the question was, right? The question was.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm sorry.
You didn't listen. The question was, would you play Skip in the fullback for the rest of the season?
Sure.
Why not? Oh,
like, he's terrible. I don't think he'd go. I don't think he would do good in that role. I kind of hear it, but like long term, do not think about it. As long as you're not suggesting that
this
season.
Yeah,
sure. Go for it.
Just this season.
You can play Oliver Skip as a false 9. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's not the question. We're asking about fullback. But would you, Eugene, Matthew? What about you? Would you play Skip as the fullback, or do you think no? Just we've got Dragoos in there. What's going on here?
I would. I think he showed tenacity, and he showed. Look, when you get to this stage of the season, right? Formations, tactics, they're out the window. It's been a long season. People are probably playing with knocks and injuries. It's about your heart now. It's about how much do you want to do the hard yards. And Skip was one of the only players against Liverpool that looked like he wanted to get close to people and he wanted to engage with people. We had 4 or 5 players in there that weren't prepared to track back and only wanted to be available when Tottenham had the ball. Not acceptable. So it's a low bar because Emerson Royal, it was the person in that position. So the bar, it's low hanging fruit. You know, it kind of gives you how
Spoiled
bad
rotten
things are at the
fruit.
moment.
Spoiled
No,
moldy.
yeah,
rotten.
I mean-
if you ask me, Rostel, would I put Skip there? If you're asking me, would I put Skip there or put Dragos in there? I'll put Dragos in there because Dragos is a defender. You get what I'm saying? No? I'll still put Dragos in there, but the thing is that we know, right? Come Burnley, Emerson Royale will still be in that left back position. See that? You see? But you say between Skip
I don't think so.
and Dragos in,
I think Skip will play
if you say Skip and
You
Dragos
think
in, right?
Skip will
I
play
would-
left back?
against Burnley. Yeah,
I'd rather think Dragos
Is
in.
Emerson injured?
No, he sucks.
Oh, I think Emerson will start tomorrow. But
he just has this illness, Steve, where he can't pass to a person in the same colour shirt.
not good.
Where he can't play football.
Yeah, basics.
Guys, do you know what?
He's like Wan-Bissaka without the 1v1 defending, and then even worse. That's what Royale is.
I've just realised something. Sorry, guys. People that put in the questions, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I can't do any more. The reason being, we've got to wrap this up in 10, 15 minutes, and we haven't even spoken about the Spurs Burnley game.
Yeah.
This show is the
Good
Friday
conversation.
preview. So yeah, no, it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Let's end it on talking about Spurs v Burnley. Now, it's not the biggest game this weekend. There's a massive game up at Old Trafford, Man United Arsenal. We'll get our predictions on that game as well. City have got the first game of the day. I believe they're away at Fulham. Not an easy game. Fulham have been a difficult team for some teams this year. I mean, they battered us. They beat Arsenal, so who knows? But this really is a must-win game for Spurs. We say it a lot, but this really is, because do you know something? If we lose to a relegation fighting team at home, if we lose to a team that has been getting pumped by so many teams, and if we lose 5 in a row, honestly, it's going to get toxic. Because the next game after Burnley, we want to lose that. Well, a lot of fans.
You want to lose that. That's a good one.
So, well, it's not really, at least maybe, you know, we don't want to take any points of City, especially if Arsenal beat Man United, which they probably will. But yeah, what do you think about this Burnley game? We should be smashing them, but we're not playing with confidence. We don't look good.
And you also, even when you were playing good, you weren't smashing up teams.
We smashed Villa 4-0.
And then
The
Newcastle
last team we
4-1.
smashed.
That's 2.
We
I
beat
can
Burnley
give you
5-2.
probably-
We beat Burnley 5-2 at the
Okay,
start.
three.
But guys, to tell you the truth, right? This Burnley game, I'm going to say it is like this. If Company has watched us play all this while, and he takes that playbook that every manager knows what to do is low block Spurs, right? While Spurs play that high line, lock the ball over, get two quick attacking forwards, right? And run for it, right? Then we are in danger. But if Company comes out and go toe-to-toe with us, we have a very good chance to actually smash them or beat them comfortably.
Did Burnley ever adapt? Isn't that one of their problems this year? That they
Yeah.
No, Burnley have been adapting. Actually, yes. I've been watching. I don't watch every one of their games, but I tune in more than the casual viewer. They've been like over the past since March, 2-2 draw West Ham, 2-1 win over Brentford, 2-2 draw with Chelsea in a game that they all played them in, 1-1 draw, 1-0 loss to Everton, 1-1, 4-1 Burnley over Sheffield, 1-1, and then we smacked them up recently 4-1. Notice I didn't say how many losses in there, and when they lost, it was 1, and then the 4-1 recently. They haven't been getting smashed. They've been the performances also don't tell the full story behind those scores. They've actually Company has adjusted tactically. He's changed some stuff up, genuinely, and the results show it. So this might not be the Burnley that
What's your prediction, Steve?
1-1.
No, we don't do 1-1. We at least have to concede 3 goals first. Steve, have you forgotten that?
Eugene,
I'll
what's
go
your
with dog
thinking?
1-1.
What's your thinking on this?
My thinking, I said earlier, right? If Burnley low blockers, we might lose, right? We might even lose 3-2 or something like that. right? But if Burnley comes out and actually try to attack us and give us space to play, and if he uses Richarlison as the number 9 and uses Son on the left, we will have a good chance to actually beat them by a 2-goal scoreline. I'm not going to say I'm going to say we're going to concede, right?
What's your
but
prediction?
3-1 if Burnley plays the way that Burnley normally plays for Spurs. 3-2 to Burnley if Burnley low blocks us.
No, Eugene, you have to pick one score. You can't have if or
one score. Why you do that, right? Okay, one score. I'm a Spurs fan. I'll say we win 3-2. Sorry, 3-1.
3-1. Matt, Charlie, I'll come to you after. Don't worry.
I think it's going to be nervy. I think it's going to be Burnley have a lot of possession in their games, even in the games where they've been beaten. They have a lot of possession of the ball, which is going to be interesting because we normally out possession teams. I'm going to go with a squeaky bum 2-1 Tottenham win.
I can see that.
Squeaky bum Tottenham win. For me, guys, we're not losing to Burnley, man. We're going to beat them 3-1. We're not going to keep a clean sheet because we don't know how to do that. But I think we'll have a little difficult patch, but overall we'll dominate the play. We'll score 3 goals. We'll beat them and get 3 points, and everyone will be happy again. I don't see Burnley. If we don't beat Burnley, I'm telling you now, I will be genuine. I would genuinely be shocked, like properly shocked. I wasn't shocked we lost to Arsenal. I said we would. I said we'd lose to Chelsea. I said we'd lose to Liverpool. The only one I was a little bit surprised by was the Newcastle result, but I'm not surprised by the rest. So if we don't beat Burnley, I will be genuinely stunned, and I will blow up the internet when we go live that night as well. I'm telling you,
sounds like a 1-1. That sounds like a 1-1.
It's a loss, Steve. If we draw, to me, that's like a loss. Okay, so
I'll take the blame if you draw. I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame as well.
No, and
it'll be all my fault.
Levy and the ground staff.
Are you going for the match?
Yeah, I'm going to the game. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Charlie, what do you think about the game?
Okay.
And what's your take on the prediction for the result?
Okay, so first things first. If Burnley is going to come into this game they have to win, because if they win this game, their last game will be against Nottingham Forest, and if they win that, they'll get to the Premier League. So they will come into this game with all the fire, the desire of winning, because Luton doesn't have it. They're playing against Chelsea and Fulham. They're not going to make it anymore. They've lost. Nottingham Forest is playing against West Ham, and then I think it's West Ham, and then although they're playing against a hard team, and then they're playing against Burnley. So I think Burnley is going to be. Everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, this, that is going to be easy." But Burnley isn't going to be a pushover this game because they have got desire, and if they win this game, they've got a chance to get promoted. They've got a chance to stay in the league.
Yeah, they have.
So everyone's saying. I mean, you can say we're losing against a relegation side team, but they could be playing like Manchester City next game because this is the game they have to give all. They have to give all their stuff. And I know this sounds bloody negative, but I would not be surprised to see us get a loss or something because Burnley's going to get everything. They're going to be gladiators on that pitch, man. They're going to be. It's not going to be an easy game for us.
Another reason why I'm going. Were you done, Chad?
Yeah, kind of, but you can go on.
Okay, cool. My bad, bro. My bad. And I'm also going to explain why I think it's a draw for this reason. They start very quick, and I worry about the left-hand side of your defense. We played them last week at their ground, and they had our number that first 15, 20 minutes. We scored a goal on the counter through some good play, and Wilson finished it off. And then we kind of took control of the game from there. What I worry about is that you guys don't have those moments of attacking quality enough lately. And also, if you look at Burnley's away record against like big teams, they got a 3-2 loss to Villa, where I watched that game. Burnley were outstanding, deserved a point, so they put in a good performance. 1-1 draw at Man United, 2-2 at Chelsea. Only lost 3-1 to Man City and Liverpool away when people were saying 5, 6, 7 with the way they played. So they're a bit tricky. They're a bit tricky when they go to these big grounds. And I think they'll put in a really good performance, to be fair. But I really worry about that left-hand side with Odobert. I really worry about that. Assignon, about that right back. they played well against us. Like generally, we just hit them on the counter. So
You lot are waffling, man. What is this waffle? We're gonna beat Burnley. This dramatic. Oh, they're gonna turn up. They're back, bro.
Still, the crazy thing is,
when have Burnley ever come to Spurs and ever got a result? We're gonna cook them.
Never. But still,
I'm not saying we'll be great.
They've got a better record in the last 5 games. They've got a better. We've only got 3 points. They've got 5 points. It's crazy to say. And they're doing it against. They're doing it against good teams. We've been losing against like low teams. But still, we
do okay at home. We do okay at home.
We do. I have to say, we will win, but it's not going to be a pushover like everybody's saying. I think.
What's the scoreline, Charlie?
I'm saying I think it's going to be a tight. We need a win, to get Europa League. We need one win minimum. So I'm going to say a 2-1 win. But that's.
There's no squeaky bum time tomorrow. Okay, we will find out. We will.
No, when you get confident, we lose.
We have to get Europa League.
There's 1 or 2 teams where I'm
not worried about. I'm not really worried.
I'm giving you reasons. I'm saying that left-hand side of yours, Burnley are very strong there, and they will attack, and they have genuinely improved. And you guys are not at your. Again, this is the whole style versus style. Something's not right on your end. You're not making adjustments. The other team is. I know
teams that attack, leave the space open behind, and at home.
You're on mute again.
At home, that's not a good thing for any team to do to us. Even Arsenal had the break
to come to Spurs and low block it. They knew. At home, if you find. We're actually half decent at getting goals. The performance might not be that high, but we will open you up. I've seen it all season. I sat there bored out of my fucking face watching us play Brentford and Palace, and Luton and Forest. Rubbish games to watch. But as soon as they opened up behind, we cooked them. That's why I'm. Listen, anyhow we don't win after this speech, I literally.
You're on mute.
I literally give up. Just quickly whilst we're here, does anyone think Man United take any points off Arsenal weekend?
No.
I say it's a good chance to be a draw because it's such a big rivalry, and we never see very very high scoring feeling. It's always pretty close. So I'm saying a draw, and if it's a draw, I'd love to beat City. But I think I hope it's I want it to be a draw, of course. I hope will win, but I think it'll be a draw. There's a big chance because it's not. It's like basically a derby. Derbies are never pushovers.
No, there's a big history between Arsenal and Manchester United.
I want to ask Charlie a question. A big chance. How? Man United have been shocking. They were lucky. They were lucky as hell to beat Coventry, not even a Premier League team in the FA Cup. Crystal Palace ripped them to pieces. Right? This is Arsenal. Where's this big chance? Can you explain this to me? Because I'm lost a bit here, Charlie.
I'm not saying a big chance, but I'm saying
you did. That's exactly what you said.
So you're retracting what you said.
I'm basically retracting. But listen,
rephrase. Yeah.
Derbies are basically it's never a giveaway, except maybe against Chelsea versus Arsenal this game. But for the rest, over the years, we always see a Manchester United versus Arsenal game. I'll put it up here. It's never a big scoreline difference. It's always really close, and it usually ends up in a draw. I mean, I like 7. Yeah, actually 7.
When's the last time an Arsenal team this good played a Man United team this bad though?
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
never seen it. But the thing is,
I don't think.
Now I say hope. I hope they get a draw. I just don't want Arsenal to play win. But the thing is,
Chelsea have been bang average. I mean, Chelsea have been the laughing stock of the league. They're now above Man United. That's how peak it is at Man United. That's how bad it's got, Man United.
Charlie, I hear you. You know what the other case you can... Sorry, Eugene. You know the other case you can make about Arsenal fumbling the bag at Man United is Arsenal with a crowd. with a crowd, Arsenal haven't won at Old Trafford since 2006.
Yeah, I know, but
They don't have a good record at Old T. They have a horrible
I'll tell Rosie in the chats, right? Because she's an MU fan, right? Sorry to say this, right? I think at this moment in time, maybe Ten Hag has got all his marbles in one basket, which is called the FA Cup final. Watch them lose all the last games that they have, right? So that could happen to them. Sorry to say that, Rosie. But of course, I want Manchester United to get a result, right, against Arsenal to scupper their champion, title league challenge and all that shit, right? I wanted Spurs to get a result against Arsenal when we were playing against them at home. Look what happened. So, guys, if they do get a draw, that'll be good for us, right? It'll make us a bit more relaxed, right? We might, don't have to lose to M City at home and let it run into the last game. If not, if Arsenal beats them, we will have to throw away that.
If Arsenal don't beat United, that's it. The title's over.
But by the way,
yeah.
United has to have a win or a minimum draw to get in Europe because they are tying on 54 points with West Ham. Sorry, is it? Yeah, no, sorry, with Chelsea and United. So they're gonna the same with Burnley. They're gonna have a fire in them because they have to do something. They have to. It's not like it's going to be a
they don't have to because if they win the FA Cup,
they get a Europa
League. But beating City is just as hard as beating Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. Even harder.
They won't beat either of them. But
yeah. But
listen.
I don't. Yeah.
Go on, Charlie. Go on. No. Finish off what you're saying.
I don't see it. I don't see Arsenal sweeping that over. I don't see it. I just see it's going to be a squeaky bum game, but I don't know what direction.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up there. But before we do, I just want to say a few things. First of all, big up to the Spurs ladies, FA Cup Women's Final this Sunday. Please win us a trophy. Win this club something, we pray. Good luck to you guys. Also, want to say a big thank you to D-Boy, London Broil, and A-User for your super chats. Big up to everyone in the chat this evening, afternoon, morning, whichever part of the world you've tuned in from. And I'll quickly go around the table. Everyone can have their final say and plug a channel if you've got one. Matt?
Just short for me. Just thanks for the invite. Guys, thanks for the comments and everybody who was in the stream. Thank you for your comments as well. Look, it's a tough game. It's been a tough season, but just try and keep the faith. That's my only wish. Just try and keep the faith with this guy, and hopefully, we get lucky in the window, and we're a better team next season. That's it.
Yep. Eugene?
Thanks for having me on still, right? Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to Tottenham Away if you have not, to Charlie's channel, Charlie N17, if I'm not mistaken, Charlie Spurs N17, and of course to Strasbourg Steve channel, right? Guys, to tell the truth, I'm going to start a new show called In My Honest Opinion, most probably somewhere next week. It'll be a solo kind of show. If guests want to jump on, they can jump on, right? Because I'm going to actually tear a new one into the fan base. Hopefully not.
I like that title, man. That's iconic, in my opinion. Just to show
my honest opinion.
Fucking fact. I like that's badass, Eugene.
Yeah, so I'm getting tired of all this shit going around, so I have to come and say something. So, but I'll be very polite and I'll be very, very honest. That's all.
Big up to the new show from Eugene coming soon. Steve, when are you next on? When are you next live?
Celtic Rangers tomorrow.
Big film derby, right?
Yeah. Newcastle, Brighton straight after. Then I'm doing Napoli, Bologna. Then I'm doing a Portuguese game, Vitória Guimarães versus Braga, and I might do a watch along or two after. So a bunch of watch alongs tomorrow. Then on Sunday, I think I'm doing a Feyenoord watch along, and I think I have something else to be scheduled. Yeah.
So if you want to get your European fix of football, make sure you go over to Strasbourg Steve. Description is down below. Charlie, what about you, man? When are you next on? When's your next show? What's the plan? Or are you going to be on holiday again?
Actually, next year we've got a school trip to Berlin for a week. So after that, you will... No, first things first. Stel, thanks for having me on. It was amazing again. In fact, big up Matt, big up Eugene, big up Steve, big up the chat. It's always good being on here. And next we've got a school trip to Berlin, so looking forward to that. I will be doing like one live stream with Dan, I think, in the evening. Maybe I'll join yours if that's allowed, of course, on another time in the evenings. And just when I'm back from all this stuff, from all these trips, I've been on holiday now for 3 weeks, then I'll be starting my own streaming. So I'll be streaming myself on Charlie Spurs and 17. Hope you guys would like to be guests on there, of course. And I'm going to be more frequent on the posting, of course, because I have only got 4 videos up now. But it's just hard when you're on holiday, like balancing it out. I've done 2 vids now, so I'm just
sorry. Can I just quote that? It's hard when you're on holiday. That
Yeah,
is the line of the season.
No, I'm on holiday with my parents.
Hard when you're on holiday, people.
I'm just relaxed.
And there's one more thing I want to tell the guys, right? While I'm doing this in my honest opinion videos, right? Hop along. I have a plan. So if you want to listen to what the plan is, watch the show.
Yes, I am a football nerd, of course.
Yeah, Matt.
That should be obvious.
Just the most important question I forgot to ask earlier. You had McDonald's 1 week, Charlie. I think, did you have KFC on one stream? And did I see
pizza.
A pizza box earlier?
Yeah,
was there a pizza box somewhere?
You did.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I'm living the life here, man. I'm living the life.
You're living the dream, mate. Incredible.
I am.
Just to quickly answer Drummer's question, when's the last time any of the panel saw a Spurs game home or away? I'm a season ticket holder.
I never
went to Arsenal. I went to the Arsenal game. That wasn't.
I've been to a few away games, and I'm a self-confessed idiot for doing it as well. There you go.
I've got one thing, guys. Sorry. Oh.
Go. No. Have you say?
I'm 2 subscribers of 60, and I'm trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers so I can be more in that. What's it called? When you're a streamer, you can engage more in the chat and all that stuff, right? When you got 1,000 subscribers, or I heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's right.
Guys, there's over 200 people watching, right? Can each and every one of you just go over to Charlie Spurs N17? Just go over there, hit subscribe, and then do it with Eugene and do it with Steve.
Let me put his link.
Even if 5 or 4 or 7 of you listen to what I'm saying right now, it gets Charlie over the number that he wants. So just do it. It's free. Yeah. Helps him out.
It's free.
Guys,
as always,
I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you to everyone for doing the show today, Matt, Eugene, Steve, and Charlie.
Yeah.
And to everyone watching the show, thank you as well. We will be going live tomorrow evening. I think it's 9:30 or 10. I can't remember. It will be our post-match live show. Spurs Burnley. They're always good ones. Lots of people watch it. Lots of people enjoy it. Lots of different characters on the show. So come and join us. Otherwise, enjoy your weekends, people. Hopefully Spurs win. Hopefully the Spurs ladies win. And as always, come on.
Leave
Spurs and LEVYOUT.
LEVYOUT.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.